true, but he's an exception. He got a note from teacher.
Go. Sound works. Oh, nope. Notification sound works. Can't hear the guys. Got it. Okay, they're working on it.
Can you hear?
I said we can hear.
Now.
Can you hear everyone?
Everyone?
Everyone.
Hello.
Okay. Audio.
What's up?
Audio. Okay.
So, what?
It's all yours.
Oh, welcome to me derping stuff up. Hi, everyone.
Stuff.
Thank you for the sub. So it's a Sunday, which, you know, in 2020, every day is a Monday. And this is me. So thank you guys for hanging tight as we've gotten everything working. I've reconfigured some stuff down here. There's a new PC, so getting everything to work is great. And we have new faces. If any of y'all here watch me stream D&D on Tuesdays, it's a plug. Watch it because we're amazing. There's 3 of us here. There's 4 of us here, counting me. So hi, I'm Deva. We are going to be doing another Agatha Christie show today, and I'm super excited. You know me from things. I say things.
Fire emblems.
And fire emblems. You know, and you're here, and this is my stream, so I hope you know me. If you don't, you will decide whether you want to or not very soon. I'm gonna stop talking because this is. Hey Ben, tell people what your face is made of.
Playing before you throw it to Ben. Who are you playing today?
Who am I playing? Oh, thank you. I'm playing Vera.
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 Very cool. Very cool. Hey, everybody.
Very cool. Very.
I'm Ben Lepley. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here with us on Sunday. I'm Chef Dettles from Fire Emblem Three Houses. I have to name him that. Consider who I'm in the room with. And I'm very happy to be playing General Mackenzie. And I'm going to pass it over to Ratana.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ratana. You're stuck with me 3 weekends in a row.
No.
You know me as the person who heckles Christian and Ben. And today I'm playing Emily. And I would love to introduce Ryan.
Hello. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I am Ryan. I'll be playing Dr. Armstrong. You can find me at Perception Studio on Twitch. I do D&D. I do a whole bunch of other things. We run our own little studio over there. I am a sculptor, prop maker, puppet maker, other things, and that's what I do. Throwing it over to Donald.
Hey guys, it's Donald Russell. I'm going to be playing Anthony Marston today, and I will also be doing these stage directions. You know me. I'm going to pass it to Daryl.
Hi, I'm Daryl. I'm playing Narracott, which I kind of I keep wanting to say narcotic.
I mean, you know, it added backstory to your person. I'm down.
Yeah, so I'll pass it on to Justin and Hayley.
Oh, really quick, I think you were also the voice.
Oh, the voice of
the disembodied creepy.
Oh, great.
Hey, we're Justin and Hayley. We are also on Perception Check, doing Saladin's Legacy D&D game. Perception Studio, sorry, with Deva and Ryan. I'm a stunt performer, and you can see me in season 2 of The Mandalorian in fall. And this is my wife, Hayley.
Hi, I'm Hayley. I'll be playing Mrs. Rogers today. And you can also find me on Perception Studio playing Tuesday night D&D on Saladin's Legacy. And sometimes we're on a rotating cast for Trashterpiece Theater, which is kind of like this, only with puppets and gets a little crazy. I'm sure it gets crazy here too. And that's Friday nights, 7:30 Pacific on Perception Studio.
Felted Friends.
Oh, that's right, yep.
Anyone that doesn't know what a felted friend is, though, the slang term is puppets.
Pass it down, Hayley.
Let's
pass it to Christian.
Christian.
What up? I'm Christian la Monte. I'm the voice of Ignatz in Fire Emblem Three Houses, Sullivan Fire Emblem Heroes, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm here all the time, so you probably know who I am. Today I will be playing a man with a mysterious past, a soldier of fortune, who might be responsible for some murders, Philip Lombard. I will pass it on to whoever has not gone yet, who I believe is Xander.
Hi, I'm Xander. You might know me for deeply regretting not shaving before this. This is the first time I've looked at myself in like a week. Anyway, today I will be playing Justice Wargrave. Ooh. I don't know why, it's just Wargrave. It's a very serious name.
I do gotta say, dude, the hair on the top though, that's a good place. I like that.
It's getting too long. I gotta get rid of it again. I must clip it.
Will be haircuts after this.
Yes.
So before we get started,
we have Daryl.
Oh, and
Daryl. Oh wait, you did say yourself. You know what? Remember like 3 hours ago when I said every day's a Monday?
Oh man, I hate Mondays.
And I guess before we get started, do you mind if I give our little producer's note?
Please do.
Okay, so we are going to do And Then There Were None. Just so you know, in some of the original versions, that central poem and imagery that you're going to hear referred to people in a way that is now understood to be not nice. So, as with all art, this piece and certain uses of terms are a product of its time. Maybe at the time it was okay, but now it's definitely not, so we changed it. And we did it in a way that let us maintain the integrity of the story without being mean or offensive or strange. But that said, we're still going to have fun and figure out who done it. So, without further ado, are we ready?
Yeah!
Let's find out who done it.
I'm going to give us an applause really quick.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Not so real quick.
I don't go on without applause.
There's an applause!
And we will take a little intermission after Act 1.
Yeah. All right. So
Donald, over to you.
Act 1. Scene. The scene is the living room of the house on Soldier Island. It is a very modern room and a luxuriously furnished room. It is a bright, sunlit evening. Nearly the whole of the back of the stage is a window looking directly out to sea. French doors are open in center to balcony. It should give the impression of being like the deck of a liner almost overhanging the sea. There is a chair outright on the balcony, and the main approach to the house is presumed to be up steps and on the left side of the balcony. There are also presumed to be steps on the right of the balcony, but these are not the direct way up from the landing stage, but are supposed to be led around to the house and up behind it. Since the house is supposed to be built against the side of a steep hill, the French doors are wide so that a good area of the balcony is shown. A lot more details. The room is barely finished with modern furniture. Center are 2 sofas with spaces between, chair and small table up left, club chair with tabouret. Right and above it, down left, where there is also a bookcase. There's a window seat up right and cocktail cabinet below mantelpiece. Tabouret down right. Before fireplace is a big white bearskin rug with a bear's head. There is an armchair and tabouret right center, a square ottoman at lower end of fireplace, a settee with a table left of it in front of window right at back. When curtain rises, Rogers is busy putting final touches to room. He is setting out bottles down right. Rogers is a competent middle-aged manservant, not a butler, but a house parlourman, quick and deft. Just a trifle specious and shifty. There is a noise of seagulls, motorboat horn heard off. Mrs. Rogers enters from dining room up left. She is thin, worried, frightened-looking woman. Enter Narracott at center of left. He carries a market basket filled with packages.
First lot to be arriving in Jin's boat. Another lot not far behind.
Good evening, Fred.
Good evening, Mrs. Rogers.
Is that a boat?
Yes.
Oh dear, already? Have you remembered everything?
I think so. Lemons, slip soles, cream, eggs, tomatoes, and butter. That's all, wasn't it?
Hey, that's right. So much to do and I don't know where to start. No maids till the morning and all the guests arriving today.
Calm down, Ethel. Everything's shipshape now. Looks nice, don't it, Fred?
Looks neat enough for me. Kind of bare. But rich folks like places bare, it seems.
Rich folks is queer.
And he was a queer sort of gentleman as built this place. Spent a wicked lot of money on it, he did, and then gets tired of it and puts the whole thing up for sale.
Beats me why the Owens wanted to buy it living on an island.
Oh, come off it, Ethel. And take all that stuff out into the kitchen. They'll be here any minute now.
Making that steep climb an excuse for a drink, I suppose. Like some others I know.
Motorboat horn heard off.
Ah, that'd be young Jim. I'll be getting along. There's 2 gentlemen arriving by car, I understand.
I shall want at least 5 loaves in the morning and 8 pints of milk, remember?
Right.
Mrs. Rogers puts basket on floor up left. Exits hall.
Don't forget the oil for the engine, Fred. I ought to charge it up tomorrow, or I'll have the lights running down.
'Twell's held up on railway. It's at the station now. I'll bring it across the first thing tomorrow.
And give a hand with the luggage, will you?
Right.
Oh, I forgot to give you the list of guests, Tom.
Thanks, old girl. Does it look a very classy lot to me? Miss Claythorne, she'll probably be the secretary.
Oh, I don't hold much with secretaries. Worse than hospital nurses, and then giving themselves airs of graces and looking down on the other servants.
Oh, stop grousing, Ethel, and cut along to that lovely, up-to-date, expensive kitchen of yours.
Too many newfangled gadgets for my fancy.
Voices of Vera and Lombard are heard outside. Rogers stands at center doors, ready to receive them. He is now the well-trained, deferential manservant. Vera and Lombard enter from left on balcony. She is a very good-looking girl of 25. He is an attractive, lean man of 34, well-tanned, with a touch of the adventure about him. He is already a good deal taken with Vera.
Oh, this is it.
How perfectly lovely.
Miss Claythorne.
Oh, you're Rogers?
Yes, good evening, miss.
Good evening, Rogers. Will you bring my luggage and Captain Lombard's?
Very good, miss.
You've been here before?
No, but I've heard a lot about the place.
From Mr. and Mrs. Owen?
No, old Johnny Brewer, a pal of mine, built this house. It's a sad and poignant story.
A love story?
Yes, ma'am. The saddest of all. He was a wealthy old boy and fell in love with the famous Lily Logan, married her, bought the island and built this place for her.
Sounds most romantic.
Poor Johnny. He thought by cutting her off from the rest of the world, without even a telephone as means of communication, he could hold her.
But of course the fair Lily tired of her ivory tower and escaped.
Johnny went back to Wall Street, made a few more millions, and the place was sold.
And here we are. Well, I ought to find Mrs. Owen. The others will be up in a minute.
It would be very rude to leave me here all by myself.
Oh, would it? Well, I wonder where she is.
She'll come along when she's ready. While we're waiting, you think I could have a drink? I'm very dry.
Of course you could.
Certainly warm after that steep climb. What's yours?
No, thanks, not for me. Not on duty.
A good secretary is never off duty.
Really? This is exciting.
What?
But all this, the smell of the sea, the gulls, the beach, and this lovely house. I'm going to enjoy myself.
I think you are. I think we both are. Here's to you. You're very lovely.
Rogers enters center from left with 2 suitcases and comes down center.
Where is Mrs. Owen?
Mr. and Mrs. Owen won't be down from London until tomorrow, miss. I thought you knew.
Tomorrow, but...
I've got a list here of the guests expected, miss. If you would like to have it, the second boatload's just arriving.
Oh, thank you. How awful. I say, will you be sweet and help me, won't you?
I won't move from your side.
Thank you. There's a list. Seems silly to have brought only us in the first boat and all the rest in the second.
That, I'm afraid, was design, not accident.
Design? What do you mean?
I suggested to the boatman that there was no need to wait for any more passengers. That and 5 shillings soon started up the engine.
You shouldn't have done that.
Well, they're not a very exciting lot, are they?
I thought the young man was rather good-looking. Nice-looking, even.
Callow. Definitely callow, and very, very young.
Well, I suppose you think a man in his 30s is more attractive?
I don't think, my darling. I know.
Marston enters center from left, good-looking young man of 23 or so, rich, spoiled, not very intelligent. Wizard place you've got here.
Oh.
Prepares to greet Vera as his hostess. Lombard stands beside her like a host.
I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owens has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow.
Oh, too bad.
May I introduce Captain Lombard, Mr.
Marston, Anthony Marston.
Have a drink.
Oh, thank you. Blore comes up on balcony from left, middle-aged, thickest man, is wearing rather loud clothes and is giving his impression of a South African gold magnate. His eyes dart about, making notes of everything.
What do you have? Gin? Whiskey?
Whiskey, actually. They go down right to cabinet.
Wonderful place you have here.
I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow.
Say when?
Oh, wizard.
How are you?
My name's Lombard. Have a drink, Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name.
Mr. Davis. Mr. Marston.
How are you, Mr. Marston? Pleased to meet you. Thank you, Mr. Lombard. I don't mind if I do. Bit of a stiff climb up here, but woof, what a view and what a height. Reminds me of South Africa, this place.
Does it? What part?
Natal, Durban, you know.
Really?
Well, here's to temperance. Do you, know South Africa?
Me? No.
That's where I come from. That's my natal state. Haha.
Interesting country, I should think.
Finest country in the world, sir. Gold, silver, diamonds, oranges, everything a man could want. Talk about a land flowing with beer and skittles.
General Mackenzie arrives on balcony from left. Upright, soldierly, old man, with a gentle, tired face.
Yeah, how do you do?
General Mackenzie, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow. Can I introduce Captain Lombard, Mr. Marston, and Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name.
Whiskey and soda, sir?
Yeah, thanks. You in the service?
Formerly in the King's African Rifles. Too tame for me in peacetime. I chucked it.
Pity. When?
Miss Emily Brent arrives, center from left. She is a tall, thin spinster with a disagreeable, suspicious face.
And...
what was that, Emily?
Where is my volume? There it is. Where is Mrs. Owen?
Miss Brent, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid.
And won't be down until tomorrow.
They tail off, rather embarrassed.
Indeed. Extraordinary. Did she miss the train?
I expect so. Won't you have something? May I introduce Captain Lombard, General Mackenzie, Mr. Marston? I think you all met on the boat, and Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name. May I take your case?
Do let me get you a drink. Dry martini, glass of sherry, whiskey and soda.
Never touch alcohol.
You never touch alcohol, of course.
I suppose you know, young man, that you left us standing there on the wharf.
Oh, I'm afraid, Miss Brent, I was to blame for that. I wanted to...
No, it seems to me most extraordinary that Mrs. Owen should not be here to receive her guests.
Perhaps she's the kind of person who just can't help missing trains.
That's what I reckon she is.
Not at all. Mrs. Owen isn't least like that.
Perhaps it's her husband's fault.
She hasn't got a husband. I should like to go to my room.
Of course. I'll take you there.
You'll find Mrs. Rogers upstairs, miss. She will show you the room.
Vera exits and Emily. Rogers exits, Wargrave enters center.
I'm afraid our host and hostess haven't arrived, sir. My name's Lombard.
My name's Wargrave. How do you do?
How do you do? Have a drink, sir?
Yes, please. The cheapest wine you have.
How are you? Davis. Davis is the name. I say, wonderful place you've got here. Quite unique.
As you say, quite unique.
You drink, sir?
Wargrave puts coat on sofa, left, takes his drink, and sits up. Watches proceedings from there. Old Badger Berkeley rolled up yet?
Who did you say?
Badger Berkeley. He roped me in for this show. When's he coming?
I don't think he is coming. Nobody of the name Berkeley.
The dirty old double-crosser. He's let me down. Well, it's a pretty wizard island. Rather a wizard girl, that secretary. You ought to liven things up a bit. I say, old man, what about dressing for dinner if there's time?
Well, let's go and explore.
Oh, wizard.
Things are a bit at 6s and 7s with the Owens not turning up.
Tricky, what? I say wizard place for a holiday, what? First, Marston and Lombard left. Blore wanders out on balcony, looks sharply into room, and presently exits right on balcony as General Mackenzie and Wargrave talk. Wargrave continues to sit like a Buddha. He observes Mackenzie, who is right center, standing looking rather lost. Absent-mindedly pulling his mustache, Mackenzie's carrying a shooting stick. He looks at it wistfully, half opens and closes it.
Aren't you going to sit down?
Well, to tell you the truth, you seem to be in my chair.
Oh, I am sorry. I didn't realize you were one of the family.
Well, it's not that exactly. To tell you the truth, I've never been here before, but you see, I live at the Benton Club, have for the last 10 years, and my seat is just about there. Can't get used to sitting anywhere else.
It's become a bit of a habit.
Yes, it certainly does, thank you. Well, it's not quite as good as the club's, but it's a nice chair. To tell you the truth, I was a bit surprised when I got the invitation. Haven't had anything of the kind for well over 4 years. Very nice of them, I thought.
Can I have your keys, sir?
Is Lady Constance Cumlington expected here? Can you tell me?
Lady Constance Comington? I don't think so, sir, unless she's coming down with Mr. and Mrs. Owen.
Oh.
Allow me, sir. Can I have your keys, sir?
No, thanks. I'll unpack myself.
Dinner is at 8 o'clock, sir. Shall I show you to your room?
Please.
Mackenzie goes to the door, which Rogers holds open for him. Wargrave follows more deliberately, looking around the room in an unsatisfied fashion. Rogers follows them out. Sounds of seagulls, then Dr. Armstrong arrives upon balcony from left, followed by Narracott, carrying his suitcase. Armstrong is a fussy, good-looking man of 44. He looks rather tired.
Here you are, sir. I'll call Rogers.
Armstrong looks around, nods approval, looks out at sea. The Narracott returns. Armstrong tips him. Narracott exits to center left. Armstrong sits settee upright. Blore comes along balcony from right, pauses at sight of Armstrong.
How are you, Davis? Davis is the name.
Mine's Armstrong.
Dr. Armstrong, I believe.
Yes.
Thought so. Never forget a face.
Don't tell me I've forgotten one of my patients.
No, nothing like that. But I once saw you in court giving expert evidence.
Oh, really? Are you interested in the law?
Well, you see, I'm from South Africa. Naturally, legal processes in this country are bound to interest a colonial.
Oh, yes, of course.
Have a drink.
No, thanks. I never touch it.
Do you mind if I do? Mine's empty.
Not a bit.
I've been having a look around the island. It's a wonderful place, isn't it?
Wonderful. I thought, as I was coming across the mainland, what a heaven of peace this was.
Too peaceful for some, I dare say.
Wonderfully restful. Wonderful for the nerves. I'm a nerve specialist, you know.
Yes, I know that. Did you come down by train?
No, I motored down. Dropped in on a patient on the way. Great improvement, wonderful response.
Best part of 200 miles, isn't it? How long did it take you?
I didn't hurry. I never hurry. Bad for the nerves. Some mannerless young fellow nearly drove me into the ditch near Amesbury. Shot past me at about 80 miles an hour. Disgraceful bit of driving. I'd like to have his number.
Yes, and if only more people would take the numbers of these young road hogs.
Yes. You must excuse me. Must have a word with Miss Owen.
Oh, but Mr. Owens isn't coming down.
Blore rings bell below left. Finishes drink, puts glass on left sofa. Rogers enters almost immediately.
You ring, sir.
Yes, take my hat, will you? What time is supper?
Dinner is at 8 o'clock, sir. In a quarter of an hour. I think tonight dressing will be optional.
Got a good place here.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Been here long?
Just under a week, sir.
Is that all? So I don't suppose you know much about this crowd that's here?
No, sir.
All old friends of the family?
I really couldn't say, sir.
Oh, well. Oh, Rogers.
Yes, sir.
Rogers, do you think you could put some sandwiches and a bottle of beer in my room at night? I get an hell of an appetite with the sea air.
I'll see what I can do, sir.
Oh, and Rogers, I'll see you won't lose by it. Where's my room?
I'll show you, sir.
Good, I can do with a wash and brush up straight away.
Enter Mrs. Rogers. She picks up glass from sofa and from table up left and takes them down right. Enter Rogers with a tray of 8 glasses.
Oh, there you are, Rogers. You ought to clear these dirty glasses. You're always leaving the dirty work for me. Here I am with a 4-course dinner on my hands and no one to help me. You mightn't come and give me a hand with the dishing up. Who was it you were talking to, by the way?
Davis, South African gentleman. No class, if you ask me. And no money, either.
I don't like him. Don't like any of them much. More like that bunch we had at the boarding house, I'd say.
Davis gives out he's a millionaire or something. You should see his underwear. Cheap as they make them.
Well, as I said, it's not treating us right. All these visitors arriving today, and the maid's not coming till tomorrow. What do they think we are?
Now then, anyway, the money's good.
So it ought to be. Catch me going into service again unless the money was good.
Well, it is good. So what are you going on about?
Well, I can tell you this, Rogers. I'm not staying anywhere I put upon. Cooking's my business. I'm a good cook, and
First rate, old girl.
But the kitchen's my place, and housework's none of my business. All these guests. I've a good mind to put my hat on and my coat on and walk right out and go straight back to Plymouth.
You can't do that, old girl.
Who says I can't? Why not? I should like to know.
Because you're on an island, old girl. Had you forgotten that?
Yes, and I don't know, I fancy being on an island.
Don't know that I do either, come to that. No slipping down to a pub or going to the pictures. Oh well, it's double wages on account of the difficulties. There's plenty of beer in the house.
Oh, that's all you ever think about. Beer.
Now, stop your nagging. You get back to that kitchen or your dinner will be spoilt.
It'll be spoilt anyway, I expect. Everybody's going to be late. Wasted on them anyway. Thank goodness I didn't make a souffle.
Enter Vera.
Oh, dinner won't be a minute, miss. Just a question of dishing up.
Is everything all right, Rogers? Can you manage between the two of you?
Yes, thank you, miss. The missus talks a lot, but she gets it done.
Vera goes to right window. Emily enters left, having changed.
What a lovely evening.
Yes, indeed. The weather seems very settled.
How plainly can one hear the sea?
A pleasant sound.
Hardly a breath of wind, and deliciously warm. Not like England at all.
I should have thought you might feel a little uncomfortable in that dress.
Oh, no.
It's rather tight, isn't it?
Oh, I don't think so.
You'll excuse me, my dear, but you're a young girl and you've got your living to earn.
Yes.
A well-bred woman doesn't like her secretary to appear flashy. It looks, you know, as though you were trying to attract the attention of the opposite sex.
And would you say I do attract them?
Oh, that's beside the point. A girl who deliberately sets out to get the attention of men won't be likely to keep her job long.
Surely that depends on who she's working for.
Really, Miss Claythorne.
Aren't you being a little unkind?
You know, young people nowadays behave in the most disgusting fashion.
Disgusting?
Yes, low-backed evening dresses, lying half-naked on beaches, this so-called sunbathing. Oh, an excuse for immodest conduct, nothing more. Familiarity, Christian names, drinking cocktails. And look at the men nowadays. Decadent. Look at that young Mr. Marston. What good is he? And that Captain Lombard.
What do you object to in Captain Lombard? I should say he was a man who'd led a very varied and interesting life.
Oh, the man's an adventurer. All this younger generation is no good. No good at all.
You don't like youth. I see.
What do you mean?
I was just remarking that you don't like young people.
And is there any reason why I should, pray?
Oh, no. But it seems to me that you must miss an awful lot.
You're very impertinent.
I'm sorry, but that's just what I think.
No, the world will never improve until we stamp out immodesty.
Quite pathological.
What did you say?
Nothing.
Emily sits up. Enter Armstrong and Lombard. Talking. They cross upright.
What about the old boy?
He looks rather like a tortoise, don't you think?
All judges look like tortoises. They've that venomous way of darting their heads in and out. Mr. Justice Wargrave is no exception.
Oh, I didn't realize he was a judge.
Oh, yes. He's probably been responsible for sending more innocent people to their death than anyone in England. Oh, hello, you. Do you two know each other? Mr. Armstrong, Miss Claythorne? Armstrong and I have just decided that the old boy...
Yes, I heard you, and so did he, I think.
Wargrave moves over to Emily. Emily rises as she sees Wargrave approaching.
Oh, Sir Lawrence.
Miss Brent, isn't it?
There's something I want to ask you. Will you come out here with me?
A remarkably fine night.
Lombard up center, Marston enters left with Blore. They are in conversation. Absolutely withered car. A supercharged sports Malati Carlotta. You don't see many of them on the road. I can get over 100 out of her.
Did you come to London?
Yes, 208 miles, and I did it in a bit of over 4 hours. Too many cars are on the road, though, to keep it up. Touched 90 going over Salisbury Plain. Not too bad, eh?
I think you passed me on the road.
Oh, yes.
You nearly drove me into a ditch.
Did I? Sorry.
If I'd seen your number, I'd have reported you.
But you were footling along in the middle of the road.
Footling? Me, footling?
Oh, well. What about a drink?
Good idea. Will you have one, Miss Claythorne?
No, thank you.
Good evening, Mrs. Owen.
Why Mrs. Owen?
You'd make the most attractive wife for any wealthy businessman.
Do you always flirt so outrageously?
Always.
Oh, well, now we know.
Tell me, what's old Miss Brent talking to the judge about? She tried to buttonhole him upstairs.
I don't know. Funny, she seems so definite that there wasn't a Mr. Owen.
You don't think that Mrs. Owen... I mean, that there isn't. That they aren't.
What? Married, you mean?
Rogers enters, switches on lights, draws curtains, and exits to study upright. Marston comes to right end of left sofa. Lombard rises to left end of sofa. Damn shame we didn't know each other. I could have given you a lift down.
Yes, that would have been grand.
Like to show you what I can do across Salisbury Plain. Tell you what, maybe we can drive back together? Enter Wargrave and Emily center. Mackenzie enters, sits down, chair down left. But it seems damn silly. I've got an empty car.
Yes, but she likes the way she's going back, and...
Look, aren't they sweet, those 10 little China soldiers. Oh, and there's the old nursery rhyme.
What are you talking about? What figures? What nursery rhyme?
10 little soldiers, boys going out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there were 9. 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One overslept himself, and then there were 8.
Dark, isn't it?
8 little soldier boys traveling in Devon. One got left behind, and then there were 7. Ladies and gentlemen, silence, please. You were charged with these indictments, that you did respectively and at divers time commit the following. Edward Armstrong, that you did cause the death of Louisa May Cleese. William Henry Blore, that you brought about the death of James Stephen Landor. Emily Caroline Brent, that you were reasonable for the death of Beatrice Taylor. Vera Elizabeth Claythorne, that you killed Peter Ogley of Hamilton. Philip Lombard, that you were guilty of the death of 21 men, members of an East African tribe. John Gordon Mackenzie, that you sent your wife's lover, Arthur Richmond, to his death. Anthony James Marston, that you were guilty of the murder of John and Lucy Combs. Thomas Rogers and Ethel Rogers, that you brought about the death of Jennifer Brady. Lawrence John Wargrave, that you were guilty of the murder of Edward Seaton. Prisoners at the bar, have you anything to say in your defense?
There is a momentary paralyzed silence. Then there is a scream outside the door. Lombard springs across the room to it. Indignant murmur breaks out as people recover from the first shock. The door opens to show Mrs. Rogers in a fallen heap. Marston springs across to Lombard. They pick up Mr. Rogers and carry her to the right sofa. Armstrong comes to her.
It's nothing much. She's fainted, that's all. She'll be around in a minute. Get some brandy.
Rogers, get some brandy.
Who was that speaking? It sounded...
What's going on here? What kind of practical joke was that?
Blore wipes face with handkerchief. Wargrave stands in the middle of room near sofa, thoughtfully stroking chin, his eyes peering suspiciously from one to the other.
Where the devil did that voice come from? Ah, here we are.
You are charged with these indictments.
But turn it off! Turn it off! It's horrible!
Lombard switches it up.
A disgraceful and heartless practical joke.
So, you think it's a joke, do you?
What else could it be?
At the moment, I'm not prepared to give an opinion.
Rogers enters. Who in the devil turned it on, though? And set it going?
We must inquire into that.
Lombard enters upright with record, puts it on the chair right. Mrs. Rogers begins to move and twist.
Oh dear me! Oh dear me! I'm hysterical!
The others move nearer, obscuring table where the brandy is. Attention is focused on Mrs. Rogers.
Allow me, madam. Allow me, sir. If I speak to her, Ethel. Ethel! It's all right. All right, do you hear? Pull yourself together.
You'll be all right now, Miss Rogers. Just a nasty turn.
Did I faint, sir?
Yes.
It was the voice, the awful voice, like a judgment. Oh.
Where's the brandy? Yeah. Drink this, Miss Rogers.
I'm all right now. It just gave me a turn.
Of course it did. Gave me a turn, too. Wicked lies it was. I'd like to know who...
Who was it that put that record on the gramophone? Was it you, Rogers?
I was just obeying orders, sir, that's all.
Whose orders?
Mr. Owens.
Now let me get this quite clear. Mr. Owens' orders were what exactly?
I was to put on a record on the gramophone in the study. I'd find the records in the drawer in there. I was to start with that one, sir, and I thought it was just to give you all some music.
A very remarkable story.
It's the truth, sir. Before heaven, it's the truth. I didn't know what it was, not for a moment. It had a name on it. I thought it was just a piece of music.
Is there a title?
A title? Yes, sir. It's entitled Swan Song.
This whole thing is preposterous! Preposterous! Slinging accusations about like this. Something must be done about it. This fellow, Owen, whoever he is.
That's just it. Who is he?
That is exactly what we must go into very carefully. I suggest that you get your wife to bed, Rogers. Then you come back here.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you a hand.
Will she be all right, Doctor?
Yes, quite all right.
Don't know about you, sir, but I feel I need another drink.
I agree.
I'll get them.
Preposterous. That's what it is. Preposterous.
Whiskey for you, Sir Lawrence.
I should like a glass of water, please.
Oh, yes, I'll get it. I'll have a little whiskey, too.
Vera takes a glass of water to Emily, then sits right center with her own drink. They sip drinks without speaking, but they eye each other. Armstrong enters.
She'll be all right. I've given her a sedative.
Now then, Doctor, you'll want to drink after all this.
Oh, thank you. I never touch it.
Oh, so you said. You have this one, General?
Marston and Lombard refill their glasses. Rogers stands near a door. He is nervous. Everyone focuses attention on him.
Now then, Rogers, we must get to the bottom of this. Tell us what you know about Mr. Owen.
He owns the place, sir.
I am aware of that fact. What I want you to tell me is what you yourself know about the man.
I can't say, sir. You see, I've never seen him.
What do you mean you've never seen him?
We've only just been here under a week, sir, my wife and I. We were engaged by letter through a registry office, the Regina in Plymouth.
That's a high-class firm. We can check on that.
Have you got the letters?
The letter engaging us? Yes, sir.
Go on with your story.
We arrived here, like the letter said, on the 4th. Everything was in order, plenty of food in stock, and everything was nice. Just needed dusting in that.
And what next?
Nothing, sir. That is, we got orders to prepare the room for a house party 8. Then yesterday, by the morning post, I received another letter saying Mr. and Mrs. Owens might be detained, and if so, we was to do the best we could, and it gave the instructions about dinner and putting on the gramophone record. Here it is, sir.
Headed Ritz Hotel and typewritten.
Blore steps up to him and takes letter out of his hands. Marston to left of Blore. Mackenzie rises, looks over Wargrave's shoulder.
Coronation machine number 5. Quite new, no defects. And signed paper, most common make. We shan't get much out of this. We might try for fingerprints, but it's been handled too much.
Quite the little detective.
Wargrave turns and looks at him sharply. Blore's manner has completely changed, so has his voice. Mackenzie sits up left again. Lombard sits left sofa. Got some fancy Christian names, hasn't he? Alick Norman Owen. Quite a mouthful.
I am obliged to you, Mr. Marston. You have drawn my attention to a curious and suggestive point. I think the time has come for all of us to pool our information. I would be well for everybody to come forward with all the information they have regarding our unknown host. We are all his guests. I think it would be profitable if each one of us were to explain exactly how that came about.
There's something very peculiar about all this. I received a letter with a signature that was not very easy to read. It purported to be from a woman whom I had met at a certain summer resort 2 or 3 years ago. I took the name to be Ogden. I'm quite certain that I've never met or become friendly with anyone the name of Owen.
Have you got that letter, Miss Brent?
Yes, I will fetch it for you.
Miss Claythorne.
I never actually met Mrs. Owen. I wanted a holiday post and I applied to be a secretarial agency, Miss Grenfell's in London. I was offered this post and accepted.
And you were never interviewed by your prospective employer?
No, this is the letter.
Soldier Island, Sticklehaven, Devon. I have received your name from Mrs. Grenfell's agency. I understand that she knows you personally. I shall be glad to pay you the salary you ask, and shall expect you to take up your duties on August 8th. The train is the 12:10 from Paddington, and you will be met at the station. I enclosed £5 for expenses. Yours truly, Una Nancy Owen. Mr. Marston.
Don't actually know the Owens. Got a wire from a pal of mine, Badger Berkeley. Told me to roll up here. Surprised me a bit because I had an idea the old house had gone to Norway. I haven't got the wire.
Thank you. Dr. Armstrong.
In the circumstances, I think I may admit that my visit here was professional. Mr. Owen wrote me that he was worried about his wife's health, her nerves to be precise. Visit here was professional. He wanted a report without her being alarmed. He therefore suggested I visit, should it be regarded as that of an ordinary guest.
Mm-hmm. And you had no previous acquaintance with the family?
No.
But you had no hesitation in obeying the summons?
A colleague of mine was mentioned, and a very handsome fee suggested. I was due for a holiday anyway.
Dear Miss Brent, I do hope you do remember me. We were together at Belhaven Guest House in August some years ago, and we seem to have so much in common. I am starting a guest house of my own on an island off the coast of Devon. I think there is really an opening for a place where there is good plain English cooking and a nice old-fashioned type of person. None of this nudity or gramophones half the night. I shall be very glad if you could see your way to spending your summer holiday on Soldier Island as my guest, of course. I suggest August 8th, 12:40 from Paddington to Oakbridge. Yours sincerely, U.N. Yes, the signature is slightly ambiguous.
Rather like the nudity touch.
Here is my own decoy letter, from an old friend of mine, Lady Constance Culmington. She writes in her usual vague, incoherent way, urging me to join her here, and refers to her host and hostess in vague terms.
Armstrong, right of Wargrave. Marston to the right of Armstrong. To look at letter. Mackenzie to left of Wargrave.
Look here, I've just thought of something.
In a minute.
But
We will take one thing at a time, if you don't mind, Captain Lombard. General Mackenzie.
Got a letter from this fellow. Owen, I thought I must have met sometime at the club. Mentioned some old cronies of mine who were to be here. Hoped I'd excuse informal invitation. Haven't kept the letter, I'm afraid.
And finally, you, Captain Lombard.
Same sort of thing. Invitation mentioning mutual friends. I haven't kept the letter either.
Pause. Wargrave turns his attention to Blore. He looks at him for some minutes. When he speaks, his voice is silky and dangerous.
Just now, we had a somewhat disturbing experience. An apparently disembodied voice spoke to all of us by name, uttering certain definite accusations against us. We will deal with those accusations presently. At the moment, I'm interested in a minor point. Amongst the names received was that of William Henry Blore. But as far as we know, there is no one named Blore among us. The name of Davis was not mentioned. Now, what have you to say about that, Mr. Davis?
Cat's out of the bag. Seems, I suppose I'd better admit my name isn't Davis.
You are William Henry Blore.
That's right.
I will actually add something to that. Not only are you here under a false name, Mr. Blore, but in addition, I've noticed this evening that you're a first-class liar. You claim to have come from Natal, South Africa. I know South Africa and Natal rather well, and I'm prepared to swear that you've never set foot there in your life.
All turn towards Blore. Armstrong goes up right window.
You gentlemen got me all wrong. I'm an ex-Sid man.
Oh, a copper!
I've got my credentials and I can prove it. I run a detective agency in Plymouth. I was put on this job.
By whom?
Why, Mr. Owen. Sent a very nice money order for expenses and said I was to join the house party. Posing as a guest, he also sent a list of all your names and said I was to keep an eye on you all.
Was there any reason given?
Said Mrs. Owens had got some valuable jewels. Mrs. Owens, my foot. I don't believe there's any such person.
Your conclusions are, I think, justified. Ulrich Norman Owen, Una Nancy Owen. Each time, that is to say, U.N. Owen, or by a slight stretch of fancy, unknown.
But it's fantastic! Mad!
Oh, yes, I've no doubt in my own mind that we have been invited here by a madman, probably a dangerous, homicidal lunatic.
Oh my God!
Damn.
Whoever it is who has enticed us here, that person has taken the trouble to find out a great deal about us. A very great deal, I should think. And out of his knowledge concerning us, he has made certain definite accusations.
Pack of damn lies. Splendid!
Wicked!
I wish to say this. Our unknown friend accused me of murder of one Edward Seton. I remember Seton perfectly well. He came up before me for trial in June 1930. He was charged with the murder of an elderly woman. He was very ably defended and made a good impression on the jury in the witness box. Nevertheless, on the evidence, he was certainly guilty. I summed up accordingly, and the jury brought in a verdict of guilty. In passing a sentence of death, I fully concurred with this verdict. The appeal was lodged on the grounds of misdirection. The appeal was dismissed, and the man was duly executed. I wish to say before you all that my conscience is perfectly clear on the matter. I did my duty, and nothing more. I pass sentence on a rightly convicted murderer.
Did you know Seton at all? I mean, personally?
I knew nothing of Seton previously to the trial.
The old boy's lying. I'll swear he's lying.
Fellow's a madman. Absolute madman. Got a bee in his bonnet. Got hold of the wrong end of the stick. All the way around. Best really to leave this sort of thing unanswered. However, I feel I ought to say no truth whatsoever in what he has said about young Arthur Richmond. Richmond was one of my officers. I sent him on reconnaissance in 1917. He was killed. Also, like to say, resent very much slur on my wife. Been dead a long time. Best woman in the world. Absolutely Caesar's wife.
I've just been thinking, John and Lucy Combs. Must have been a couple of kids I ran over near Cambridge. Beastly bad luck.
For them or for you?
Well, I was thinking for me, but of course, you're right, sir. It was damned bad luck for them too. Of course, it was pure accident. They rushed out of some cottage or other. I had my license suspended for a year. Beastly nuisance.
This speeding's all wrong. All wrong. Young men like you are a danger to the community.
Well, I couldn't help it. Just an accident.
Might I say a word, sir?
Go ahead, Rogers.
There was a mention, sir, of me and Mrs. Rogers and of Miss Jennifer Brady. There isn't a word of truth in it. We were with Miss Brady when she died. She was also always in poor health, sir. Always from the time we came to her. There was a storm, sir, the night she died. The telephone was out of order. We couldn't get to the doctor to her. I went for him, sir, on foot, but he got there too late. We'd done everything possible for her, sir. Devoted to her we were. Anyone will tell you the same. There was never a word said against us. Never a word.
Came into a nice little something at her death, I suppose, didn't you?
Miss Brady left us a legacy in recognition of our faithful service. And why not, I'd like to know?
What about yourself, Mr. Blore?
What about me?
Your name was on the list.
I know. Landor, you mean. That was the London and Commercial Bank robbery.
I remember the name. Though it didn't come before me, Landor was convicted on your evidence. You were the police officer in charge of the case.
I was, my lord.
Landor got penal servitude for life and died in Dartmoor a year later. He was a delicate man.
He was a crook. It was him put the Night Watchman out. The case was clear from the start.
You were complimented, I think, on your able handling of the case.
I got my promotion. I was only doing my duty.
Convenient word. Duty. What about you, Doctor?
I'm at a loss to understand the matter. The name meant nothing to me. What was it? Close? Those? I really don't remember having a patient of that name, or it's being connected with a death in any way. The thing's a complete mystery to me. Of course, it's a long time ago. Might possibly be one of my operation cases in hospital. They came too late, so many of these people. Then, when the patient dies, it's always the surgeon's fault.
And then it's better to take up nerve cases and give up surgery. Some, of course, give up drink.
I test. You've no right to insinuate such things. I never touch alcohol.
My dear fellow, I never suggested you did. Anyway, Mr. Unknown appears to be the only one who knows all the facts.
Now then, Miss Claythorne.
I was nursery governess to Peter Hamilton. We were in Cornwall for the summer. He was forbidden to swim out far. One day when my attention was distracted, he started off. As soon as I saw what happened, I swam after him. I couldn't get there in time.
And was there an inquest?
Yes. I was exonerated by the coroner. His mother didn't blame me either.
Thank you. Miss Brent.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You reserve your defense.
There is no question of defense. I have always acted according to the dictates of my conscience.
What a law-abiding lot we seem to be, myself excepted.
We are waiting on your story, Captain Lombard.
I haven't got a story.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry to disappoint all of you. It's just that I plead guilty. It's perfectly true. I left those natives alone in the bush. Matter of self-preservation.
You abandoned your men.
Not quite the act of a Puka Sahib, I'm afraid. But after all, self-preservation's a man's first duty. Natives don't mind dying, you know. They don't feel about it as Europeans do.
Our inquiry rests, then. Now, Rogers, who else is there on this island besides ourselves and you and your wife?
Nobody, sir. Nobody at all.
And you are quite sure of that?
Quite sure, sir.
Thank you. Don't go, Rogers. I am not yet clear as to the purpose of our unknown host in getting us to assemble here. But in my opinion, he's not sane in the accepted sense of the word. He may be dangerous. In my opinion, it would be well for all of us to leave this place as soon as possible. I suggest that we leave tonight.
I beg your pardon, sir, but there's no boat on the island.
No boat at all?
No, sir.
Well, why don't you telephone to the mainland?
There's no telephone. Fred Narracott, he comes over every morning, sir. He brings the milk and the bread and the post and the papers and takes the orders.
Makes sense.
A bit of unsporting, what? Ought to ferret out the mystery before we go. Whole thing's like a detective story. Positively thrilling.
At my time of life, I've no desire for thrills.
The legal life's narrowing. I'm all for crime. Here's to sit.
Glug, 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 glug.
My God, he's dead.
Ed, you mean the fellow just choked and died?
You can call it choking if you like. He died of asphyxiation, right enough.
Never knew a man could die like that. It's just a choking fit.
In the middle of life, we are in death.
A man doesn't die of a mere choking fit, General Mackenzie. Marston's death isn't what I'd call natural.
Was there something in the whiskey?
Yes. And the smell of it's cyanide. Probably potassium cyanide. Acts pretty well instantaneously.
And he must have put the stuff in the glass himself.
Suiciding? That's a rum go.
You'd never think he'd commit suicide. He was so alive. He was enjoying himself.
Emily comes down and picks up remains of soldier from behind chair right center.
Oh, look. Here's one of the little soldiers off the mantelpiece. Broken.
Curtain.
Bum, bum, bum.
That is our intermission.
There is much drama.
So much.
That
Which one of you did it?
I think we all did it. Yeah.
Which one of you killed him?
I was just, so, I swear this is the first iteration of Saw. That's what this is. That is what this is.
It's just
Dramatic
a
clue.
direct version.
But I love that up front, like, just at the very top of the show, the voice is like, "These are all the things y'all have done. There's no one good in this show. Have fun." Like, well,
all suck.
I just want to give a shout out to the stick, Ben.
Yeah. All right, that was bad acting. But what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna wink on that line.
That was the epitome of fan service, sir.
It was beautiful. It was
right there.
It was beautiful.
What am I gonna do? Let that slide? Let that stick reference slide?
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
What am I gonna do?
So yeah, if anyone needs excuse me, bathroom break, anything like that, go take it, grab a snack. We're doing what do we want to say, 5-minute intermission?
A little 5 minutes.
Yeah,
we can
5-minute intermission. We're just
I'm gonna go refill my water.
So
I'm very quickly running out of things to ominously drink.
do you want me to send you some whiskey?
Christian's ominous drinks have become smaller and smaller.
I'm just pulling up people's Daryl's. Okay, so
Are we still live? Are we still?
Oh yeah, we're still live.
We just
but you can turn off your camera and stuff if you wanna.
Nah, I'm good. I'll just sit here and stare at you all day.
Yeah, guys, everybody go pick up a dew from your local 7-Eleven.
Justin,
what's the Mountain Dew reference?
Oh, I mixed a bunch of different Mountain Dew flavors together in honor of the Fire Emblem Three Houses 1-year anniversary, and chugged it, and then signed prints of my character.
Monster.
Awesome.
I can't believe you chugged that thing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that is. Were you alive for many days? Are you still here? Are you on another plane? Have you transcended?
No, I ascended and I haven't come down since. Actually, Mish was recording it, and she was like, "You know, you don't actually have to chug that, right? Because they can't see you." And I was like, "Oh."
Well, I mean,
It's the
also,
principle.
but it's the commitment to the thing.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that to
Daniel Day-Lewis over here.
Right?
Do you know?
He's method.
The one thing I don't know if I could ever actually do is if I ever played Sally Bowles in Cabaret, I don't think I could do the what was it? The oyster, the something oyster. It's the hot sauce plus the egg plus vinegar.
The oyster shooters.
That she has before performances.
Yeah, the oyster shooters.
It's called props, dear.
No, but I've seen like the actual every performance I've seen them crack the egg and put the egg in the thing and then they drink it.
That's the shooter.
But they called it something in the show. They called it let's see, Sally Bowles oyster.
The rest of the show is going to be way
Prairie
less
oyster.
wizard.
A prairie, that's what they called it. It's nasty.
Prairie oyster.
And I have
We're gonna make something slimy even slimier.
No, there's a
It'll go down easier.
I need to put my water
That's
in like
true.
a goblet or a wine glass because everyone has like these nice glasses. I'm like, look at my 21st century.
Oh, hi. My giant thing of water. I'm right there with you, girl.
I was gonna say I've got a nice bottle, and then I've got a Doctor Who novelty wine glass that used to say "intoxicate" on the background, but now just says "noxicate." So
It knocks you out.
Go to your local eBay and get a 64-ounce jug. It holds everything.
So
that is still. I'm mad jealous of that.
Swimming in that, Justin. That's huge.
Thank you.
Scara D asked if we've thought about archiving these shows long term, like on YouTube or so. I've thought about it. I just don't know how to do it, and I haven't looked it up because I've been super busy. So right now they're just on Twitch for like a tiny bit until they go away.
Sort it out. I have to get back to Unix about archiving some of my streams too.
Yeah, we're
in the process of figuring it out. Yes.
Yeah, we will do the things.
Yeah. Ask me, Diva.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
Why haven't I? Have I?
I don't know.
I think I.
I just don't know.
Are we all back? Do we want to? Shall we act 2 this?
Let's act 2.
To get the rest of my soldiers ready. Hang on.
Oh, I know you grabbed all your soldiers.
I have my little soldiers.
Nice.
So that I can keep count. Just so you know, the first one to go was the raccoon.
Oh no!
Right, no, that's method. That is method.
Just because I do feel this probably should be addressed. Kaiser Laura was discussing prints that 1, 2, 3, 4 of us signed prints over the Anime Impulse weekend and asked.
What's the question?
I'm not in the U.S. What's going on with the USPS?
Mind if I take it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, for any of you who have joined us over the last couple of weeks for the Fire Emblem anniversary signing, first of all, just a huge thank you for hanging out with us on streams and watching us sign stuff and interacting. What happens on our side is we ship off those beautiful prints, we bless them and kiss them and send them off to our friends at Streamily. And then the folks at Streamily are the ones in charge of repackaging those and getting them ready to send through the mail. If you are domestic, if you're in the United States, if you're out of state, if you're out of country, check with Streamily and or the order number that you ordered under to see kind of what the status is. I don't know if they send it with a tracking number or anything. So we know basically as much as you do. But we love our babies. We love you. We want to make sure you get your prints. So, keep us posted, and hopefully the post office, even though they are dealing with quite a lot these days, will handle your beautiful packages with care, and they will all be delivered lovingly to your doorsteps wherever they are in the world soon. Just know international takes a little longer because it has to go through customs. So I would give it at least 2 weeks.
And
before you start worrying.
I'm just going to, because I've said this a couple of times, and it's an intermission, and me hosting. So, if you live in the United States, please, I urge you to contact your rep and ask them to please protect the Postal Service. It's very important that we all do that. You can do a phone call. I will give you a hug from afar because lots of us don't like talking on the phone, but we have a duty to do it. So, let's do that, and while you're talking to them, ask them to help, protect the arts, because we're also floundering right now. It's important. We all have to be there for each other, and now we're back here. So that was my little help Earth.
Yeah.
This is a group high five.
Yeah. I don't want to get into anything beyond that. Just feel like it's due diligence on my part. I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So that's our intermission to talk about shipping.
Support your local post office.
That's right.
Support your posters. What?
Are we ready to jump back in?
Yeah, before I break.
Good. And then, just to remind you guys, again, this is a product of its time. Like many things, some things might feel dated and or weird, and so if you hear us change the terminology, it's so that it stays a little more current and less offensive. And we've already killed off one person, so who's next?
Bum, bum, bum.
All right. Act 2, Scene 1. The same, the following morning. The windows are open and the room has been tidied. It is a fine morning. There are only 8 soldiers on the mantelpiece. Suitcases are piled up on the balcony. All are waiting for the boat to arrive. Mackenzie is sitting up left in his chair, looking definitely a little queer. Another word. Emily is right center, looking with her hat and coat on. Wargrave is sitting window seat upright, a little part, and is thoughtful. His manner is judicial without scene. Vera by window center is restless. She comes into the room as if to speak. No one takes any notice. Goes down left and sits. Armstrong and Blore come up right on balcony.
We've been up to the top. No sign of the boat yet.
It's very early, Stu.
Oh, I know. Still, the fellow brings the milk and the bread and all that. I should have thought he'd have got here before this. No sign of breakfast yet. Where's that fellow Rogers?
Oh, don't let's bother about breakfast.
How's the weather looking?
The wind has freshened a bit, rather a mackered sky. Old boy in the train yesterday said we were due for dirty weather. Shouldn't wonder if he wasn't right.
Oh, I'm just gonna pause. We just got raided by Allegra.
Oh, what's up, Allegra?
Snap.
Oh my god. Hi, people!
Welcome to the second act.
We're doing a spooky show because 2020's not spooky enough, apparently. So we're doing this. Hello, and Allegra, I love you, and going back into the sea.
We love you, Allegra.
We do.
Let's see.
Good?
Yeah.
All right. I wish that boat would come. The sooner we get off this island, the better. It's absurd not keeping a boat on the island.
No proper harbor. If the wind comes to blow from the southeast, a boat would get dashed to pieces against the rocks.
But a boat would always be able to make us from the mainland.
No, Miss Brent. That's just what it wouldn't.
What, do you mean we should be cut off from the land?
Yes. Condensed milk, Vita, and tin stuff till the gale had blown itself out. But you needn't worry. The sea is only a bit choppy.
I think the pleasures of living on an island are rather overrated.
I wonder if that boat's coming. Knowing the way the house is built slab up against the cliff, you can't see the mainland until you've climbed to the top. Shall we go up again?
It's no good, Doctor. I watched pot never boils. There wasn't a sign of a boat putting out when we were up there just now.
What can this man Narracott be doing?
They're all like that in Devon. Never hurry themselves.
And where's Rogers? He ought to be about.
If you ask me, Master Rogers was pretty badly rattled last night.
I know. Ghastly, the whole thing.
Got the wind up properly. I'd take an even bet that he and his wife did do that old lady in.
Oh, you really think so?
Well, I never saw a man more scared. Guilty as hell, I should say.
Fantastic. The whole thing, fantastic.
I say, suppose he's hopped it.
Who? Rogers? But there isn't any way he could. There's no boat on the island, you've just said so.
Yes, but I've been thinking. We've only Rogers' word for that. Suppose there's one and he's nipped off the first thing.
Oh, no. He wouldn't be allowed to leave the island.
Sleep well, General?
Oh, I dreamed. Yes, I dreamed.
I don't wonder at that.
I dreamed of Leslie, my wife, you know.
Oh, yes, I wish Narracott would come.
Who is Narracott?
The bloke who brought us over yesterday afternoon.
Oh, was it only yesterday?
Yes, I feel like that too. Batty, gramophone records, suicides. It's about all a man can stand. I shan't be sorry to see the back of Soldier Island, I give you my word.
Oh, so you don't understand. How strange.
What's that, General?
I don't like the look of him.
I reckon young Marston's suicide must have a pretty bad shock to him. He looks years older.
Where's that poor young fellow now?
In the study. Put him there myself.
Dr. Armstrong, I suppose it was suicide.
What else could it be?
I don't know. But suicide...
You know, I had a pretty funny feeling in the night. This Mr. Unknown Owen, suppose he's on the island. Rogers mayn't know. Or he may have told him to say so. Pretty nasty thought, isn't it?
But would it have been possible for anyone to tamper with Marston's drink without us seeing?
Sorry, my computer died.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
A new deck. One human and one computer.
It's rate recharging. I'm sorry.
Show is holding for technical difficulties. Please excuse the words coming out of my mouth.
What page are we on?
Go to the lobby.
40.
40! Let's all go to the lobby.
And get ourselves a snack.
Sorry. It's not letting me jump to the page.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah,
Right.
page 40, so just scroll down a teensy bit.
And I can't see the page numbers at all. My computer.
The first line is from Mackenzie, and it's who's Narracott.
Thank you.
On the page.
So hi everybody, we're experiencing stuff that happens. Welcome to Technology.
The joys of live theater, huh?
Live virtual theater.
Live virtual theater.
Live virtual theater.
I'm trying to think of some of the biggest like technical malfunctions that have happened in shows that I've either been in or seen.
Mm. We had our whole computer go down with everyone on Zoom.
Oh,
that was fun.
I had my pretty epic costume fail where my pants ripped in the bum during Act 1, like 5 minutes in of The Importance of Being Earnest, so I could not leave the stage for like an hour. And I readjusted all my blocking, and then when I got off stage, I had it was a female all women's cast for Ernest, and I was playing Jack, and then I got off stage and the gal playing Algie, she just looks at me dead in the eyes like, have you gone mad? I'm like, no, I haven't. My God, was like, look at my butt. There's like, no, it won't work. And then
my butt's hanging out.
The director came back after and she's like, so, how you feeling, Diva? Like, so that was a thing.
You've actually had someone in earnest say to you, have you gone mad? That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Like the genuine, have you gone mad?
Have you gone mad?
We had a prop malfunction for a show I did when I was in high school. I played like a portrait in a window, and they had the wrong size ladder for me to stand in. I'm 5'2", and this thing was at least 7 feet up in the air. So all you could see was the top 2 inches of my head and hear my voice coming out.
No.
Thanks. I'm close.
You're
Don't
good.
worry.
It's all good.
I was doing a show at Disneyland, and I'll just say that I was playing a very famous Pixar character at the time.
Understood.
I'm wearing these cowboy boots, and I'm supposed to run up on the stage, and my boot gets caught in the lip of the last step, and I face plant. Like, in front of this entire audience, like my Union Agber performer is like, are you okay? And like, luckily I was able to make it work in the scene, but yeah, ate it in front of everybody. That was great.
Got it.
We got it?
Yeah.
We got it!
Yay!
And
Intermission 2, Electric Boogaloo.
That's a good one. What line are we on?
Can we start with Armstrong? I don't like the look of him.
What is that? Where?
Sure. Cool. Right after the Mackenzie blocking.
Mackenzie nods his head gently. Blore looks questioningly at Armstrong, then taps his forehead significantly.
I don't like the look of him.
I reckon young Marston's suicide must have been a pretty bad shock to him. He looks years older.
Where is that poor young fellow now?
In the study. Put him there myself.
Dr. Armstrong, I suppose it was suicide?
What else could it be?
I don't know, but suicide.
You know, I had a pretty funny feeling in the night. This Mr. Unknown Owens, suppose he is on the island. Rogers mayn't know, or he may have told him to say so. Pretty nasty thought, isn't it?
But wouldn't it have been... It wouldn't have been possible for anyone to tamper with Marston's drink without us seeing him.
Well, it was standing up there. Anyone could have slipped a dollop of cyanide in if they'd want to.
But that's not even...
Oh, there you are, sir. I've been all over the place looking for you. Could you come up and have a look at my wife, sir?
Yes, of course. She feeling under the weather still?
She's...
You won't leave the island without me?
They go.
I wish the boat would come. I hate this place.
Yes, I think the sooner we can get in touch with the police, the better.
The police?
Well, the police have to be notified in a case of suicide, you know, Miss Claythorne.
Oh, yes, of course.
What's going on here? No sign of breakfast.
Are you hungry, General? Feeling like breakfast?
Leslie, my dear.
No, I'm not. I'm Vera Claythorne.
Yes, of course. Forgive me. I took you for my wife.
Oh.
I was waiting for her, you see.
But I thought your wife was dead long ago.
Yes, I thought so too, but I was wrong. She's here on the island.
Good morning.
Good morning, Captain Lombard.
Good morning. Seem to have overslept myself. Boat here yet?
No.
Bit late, isn't it?
Yes.
And good morning. You and I could have had a swim before breakfast. Too bad all this.
Too bad you overslept yourself.
You must have good nerves to sleep like that.
Nothing makes me lose my sleep.
Didn't dream of African natives by any chance, did you?
No, did you dream of convicts on Dartmoor?
Look here, I don't think that's funny, Captain Lombard.
Well, you started it, you know. I'm hungry. What about breakfast?
The whole domestic staff seems to have gone on strike.
Ah, well, we can always forage for ourselves.
Oh, hello. That's strange.
What is?
You remember we found one of those little fellows smashed last night?
Yes? Ought to leave 9.
That ought to leave 9. I'm certain there were 10 of them here when we arrived.
Well?
There are only 8.
Huh. So there are.
I think it's odd, don't you?
Probably only were 9 to begin with. We assumed there were 10 because of the rhyme. Ah, hello, Armstrong. What's the matter?
Miss Rogers is dead.
What? No, how?
Died in her sleep. Rogers thought she was still under the influence of the sleeping draught I gave her and came down without disturbing her. He lit the kitchen fire and did his room. Then, as she hadn't appeared, he went up, was alarmed by the look of her, and went hunting for me. She's been dead for about 5 hours, I should say.
What was it? Heart?
Impossible to say. It may have been.
After all, she had a pretty bad shock last night.
Yes.
She might have been poisoned, I suppose, Doctor.
It's perfectly possible.
With the same stuff as young Marston?
No, not cyanide. It would have been much have been some narcotic or hypnotic. One of the barbiturates or chloral, something like that.
You gave her some sleeping powders last night, didn't you?
Well, yes, I gave her a mild dose of luminol.
Didn't give her too much, did you?
Well, certainly not. What do you mean?
All right, no offense. No offense. I just thought that perhaps if she had had a weak heart.
The amount I gave her could not hurt anyone.
And what exactly did happen?
Impossible to say without an autopsy.
If, for instance, this death had occurred in the case of one of your private patients, what would have been your procedure?
Without any previous knowledge of the woman's state of health, I could certainly not give a certificate.
She was a very nervous-looking creature. She had a bad fright last night. Perhaps it was heart failure.
The heart certainly failed to beat, but what caused it to fail?
Conscience.
What exactly do you mean by that, Miss Brent?
You all heard. She was accused, together with her husband, of having deliberately murdered her former employer, an old lady.
And you believe that is true, Miss Brent?
Certainly. You all saw her last night. She broke down completely and fainted. The shock of having her wickedness brought home to her was too much for her. She literally died of fear.
It's a possible theory. One cannot adopt it without more exact knowledge of her state of health. If there was a latent cardiac weakness, I mean...
Call it, if you prefer, an act of God.
Everyone is shocked.
Wow.
Oh no, Miss Brent.
You regard it as impossible that a sinner should be struck down by the wrath of God? I do not.
My dear lady, in my experience of ill-doing, Providence leaves the work of conviction and chastisement to us mortals, and the process is often fraught with difficulties. There are no shortcuts.
Let's be practical. What did the woman have to eat and drink last night after she went to bed?
Nothing.
Nothing at all. Not a cup of tea or a glass of water. I bet you she had a cup of tea. That's what always does.
Rogers, this shows me that she had absolutely nothing whatsoever.
You might say so.
So that's your idea?
Well, why not? You all heard that accusation last night. What if it's true? Miss Brent thinks it is, for one. Rogers and his missus did the old lady in. They're feeling quite safe and happy about it.
Happy?
Well, they know there's no immediate danger to them. Then last night, some lunatic goes and spills the beans. What happens? It's the woman who cracks, goes to pieces. Did you see him hanging around her when she was coming to? Not all husbandly solicitude. Not on your sweet life. He was like a cat on hot bricks, and that's the position. They've done a murder and got away with it. But if it's all going to be ranked up again now, it's the woman will give the show away. She hadn't got the nerves to brazen it out. She's living danger to her husband, that's what she is. And him, he's all right. He'll go on lying till the cows come home, and he can't be sure of her. So what does he do? He drops a nice little dollop of something into a nice cup of tea, and when she's had it, he washes up the cup, saucer, and tells the doctor she ain't had nothing.
No, that's impossible. A man wouldn't do that, not to his wife.
You'd be surprised, Miss Claythorne, what some husbands would do.
Excuse me, miss. I'm getting on with breakfast. I'm not much of a hand as a cook, I'm afraid. It's lunch that's worrying me. Would cold tongue and gelatine be satisfactory? I could manage some fried potatoes, and then there's tinned fruit and cheese and biscuits.
That will be fine, Rogers.
Lunch? Lunch? We shan't be here for lunch. When the hell's that boat coming?
Mr. Blore?
What?
You'll pardon me, sir, but the boat won't be coming.
What?
Fred Narracott's always here before 8. Is there anything else you require, miss?
No, thank you, Rogers.
Rogers leaves.
And it's not Rogers. His wife lying dead upstairs, and he's there, here, cooking breakfast and calmly talking about lunch. Now he says the boat will be coming, and how the hell does he know?
Mr. Blore.
What?
Don't you see? He's dazed. He's carrying on automatically as any good servant would. It's pathetic, really.
He's pulling a fast one, if you ask me.
The really significant thing is the failure of the boat to arrive. It means that we are being deliberately cut off from help.
Very little time. We mustn't waste it talking about things that don't matter.
He turns to window, all look at him dubiously before resuming.
Why do you think Narracott hasn't turned up?
I think the ubiquitous Mr. Owen has given orders.
You mean told him it's a practical joke or something of that kind?
He'd never fall for that, would he?
Why not? Soldier Island's got a reputation for people having crazy parties. This is just one more crazy idea, that's all. Narracott knows there's plenty of food and drink on the island. Probably think it's all a huge joke.
Couldn't we light a bonfire on top of the island, so that they'd see it?
That's probably been provided against. All signals are to be ignored. We're cut off, all right.
But can't we do something?
Oh, yes. We can do something. We can find the funny gentleman who staged this little joke, Mr. Unknown Owen. I'll bet anything he's somewhere on the island. And the sooner we get hold of him, the better, because in my opinion, he's mad as a hatter and dangerous as a rattlesnake.
Hardly a very good simile, Captain Lombard. The rattlesnake, at least, gives warning of its approach.
Warning? Oh my God, yes, that's our warning. 10 little soldier boys. There were 10 of us after Narracott went, weren't there? 10 little soldier boys going out to dine. One went and choked himself. Marston choked himself, didn't he? And then 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One overslept himself. That last part fits Mrs. Rogers rather well, doesn't it?
You don't think? Do you mean he wants to kill us all?
Yes, I think he does.
And each one fits with the rhyme.
Oh, no, it's impossible. It's coincidence. It must be coincidence.
Only 8 little soldier boys here. I suppose that's coincidence, too. What do you think, Blore?
I don't like it.
But there's nobody on this island.
I'm not sure of that.
This is terrible.
But none of us will ever leave this island.
Can't somebody shut up, Grandpa?
Don't you agree with me, Sir Lawrence?
Up to a point, yes.
Then the sooner we get to work, the better. Come on, Armstrong, Blore, we'll make short work of it.
I'm ready. Nobody's got a revolver by any chance. I suppose that's too much to hope for.
I've got one.
Always carry that about with you.
Usually. I've been in some tight places, you know.
Oh, well, you've probably never been in a tighter place than you are today. If there's a homicidal maniac hiding on this island, he's probably got a whole arsenal in him. And he'll use it.
You may be wrong there, Blore. Many homicidal maniacs are very quiet, unassuming people.
Delightful fellows.
You never guessed there was anything wrong with them.
If Mr. Owens turns out to be one of that kind, we'll leave him to you, Doctor. Now then, let's make a start. I suggest Captain Lombard searches the house while we do the island.
Right. House ought to be easy. No sliding panels or secret doors.
Mind he doesn't get to you before you get him.
Don't worry. But you two had better stick together. Remember, one got left behind.
Come on, Armstrong.
They go along and out.
A very energetic young man, Captain Lombard.
Don't you think he's right? If someone is hiding on the island, they'll be bound to find him. It's practically bare rock.
I think this problem needs brains to solve it, rather than brawn.
Where are you going?
I'm going to sit in the sun and think, my dear young lady.
Now, where did I put that skein of wool?
Did you leave it upstairs? Shall I go and see if I can find it?
No, I'll go. I know where it's likely to be.
I'm glad Captain Lombard has got a revolver.
They're all wasting time. Wasting time!
Do you think so?
Yes, it's much better to sit quietly and wait.
Wait for what?
For the end, of course. I wish I could find Leslie.
Your wife?
Yes, I wish you'd known her. She was so pretty, so gay.
Was she?
Oh, I loved her very much. Of course, I was a lot older than she was. She was 27, you know. Arthur Richmond was 26. He was my ADC. Leslie liked him. They used to talk of music and plays together. And she teased him and made fun of him. Oh, I was pleased. I thought she took a motherly interest in the boy. You're a damn fool, wasn't I? No. Fool like an old fool. Exactly like a book, the way I found out. When I was out in France, she wrote to both of us, and she put letters in the wrong envelope. And she knew.
No.
It's all right, my dear. It's a long time ago, but you see, I loved her very much. I believed in her. I didn't say anything to him. I let it gather inside it. Here, a slow, murderous rage. Damned young hypocrite. I'd liked the boy. I'd trusted him.
I wonder what the others are doing.
I sent him to his death. It was quite easy. Mackenzie were being made all the time. Mistakes were being made. All anyone could say was that I'd lost my nerve a bit, made me a blunder, sacrificed one of my best men. Yes, it was quite easy. Leslie never knew. I never told him I'd found out. I went on as usual, but nothing was quite real anymore. She died of pneumonia. She had a heart-shaped face and grey eyes and brown hair that curled.
Oh, don't.
Yes, I suppose in a way it was murder. Curious murder. And I'd always been such a law-abiding man, and it didn't feel like that at the time. Serves him damn well right. That's what I thought. But after, well, you know, don't you?
What do you mean?
You don't seem to understand. I thought you would. I thought you'd be glad, too. That the end was coming. We're all going to die. You know.
I don't know.
This is very young, and you've got that, yet the relief, the blessed relief, when you know that you've done with it all, and you haven't got to carry the burden any longer.
General!
Don't talk to me that way! You don't understand. I want to sit here and wait for Leslie to come to me!
I'm frightened. I'm frightened.
All correct up here. No secret passage.
Don't!
I say you do look low. How about a drink to steady your nerves?
I drink. 2 corpses in the house at 9 o'clock in the morning, and all you have to say is have a drink. An old man is going quite crackers. Have a drink. 10 people accused of murder. That's all right. Just have a drink. Everything's fine so long as you have a drink.
All right. Stay thirsty.
Oh, you're nothing but a waster, an adventurer. You make me tired.
I say you are, het up. What's the matter, my sweet?
I'm not your sweet.
I'm sorry. I rather thought you were.
Well, you can think again.
Now, you know you don't really feel like that. We've got something in common, you and I. Rogues and murderers can't fall out.
Rogues and murderers.
Okay. You don't like the company of rogues and murderers, and you won't have a drink. I'll go and finish searching.
He exits. Emily enters. Vera moves to window.
Unpleasant young man. I can't find it anywhere. Is anything the matter?
I'm worried about the general. He really is ill, I think.
Looking out for the boat, General. His sin has found him out.
Oh, don't!
One must face facts.
Can any of you afford to throw stones?
Even if his wife was no better than she should be, and she must have been a depraved woman, he had no right to take judgment into his own hands.
What about Beatrice Taylor.
Who?
That was the name, wasn't it?
You were referring to that absurd accusation about myself?
Yes.
Now that we are alone, I have no objection to telling you the facts of the case. Indeed, I should like you to hear them. It was not a fit subject to discuss before gentlemen, so naturally I refused to say anything last night. That girl, Beatrice Taylor, was in my service. I was very much deceived in her. Oh, she had nice manners and was clean and willing. I was very pleased with her. Of course, all that was the sheerest hypocrisy. She was a loose girl with no morals. Disgusting! Oh! It was some time before I found out she was what they call in trouble. No, it was a great shock to me. Her parents were decent folks, too, who had brought her up very strictly. I'm glad to say they did not condone her behavior.
What happened?
Naturally, I refused to keep her an hour under my roof. No one shall ever say I condoned immorality.
Did she drown herself?
Yes.
How old was she?
17.
Only 17?
Quite old enough to know how to behave. I told her what a low, depraved thing she was. I told her that she was beyond the pale and that no decent person would take her into their house. I told her that her child would be the child of sin and would be branded all its life, and that the man would naturally not dream of marrying her. I told her that I felt soiled by ever having had her under my roof.
You told a girl of 17 all that?
Yes. I'm glad to say I broke her down utterly.
Poor little devil.
I've no patience with this indulgence towards sin.
And then, I suppose you turned her out of the house?
Of course.
And she didn't dare go home. What did you feel like when you found out she'd drowned herself?
Feel like?
Yes. Didn't you blame yourself?
Certainly not. I had nothing with which to reproach myself.
I believe you really feel like that. It makes it even more horrible.
Oh, that girl's unbalanced. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands.
Breakfast is ready.
And the wicked shall be turned into hell. Be quiet.
Do you know where the gentlemen are, miss? Breakfast is ready.
Sir Lawrence Wargrave is sitting out there in the sun. Dr. Armstrong and Mr. Blore are searching the island. I shouldn't bother about them.
Shall not the isles shake at the sound of the fall, when the wounded cry, when the slaughter is made in the midst of thee?
Shall we go in?
I don't feel like eating.
Breakfast is ready.
Goes off.
Then all the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones and lay away their robes, and put of their broidered garments. They shall clothe... Go ahead.
Blore enters.
They shall clothe themselves with trembling. They shall sit upon the ground and shall tremble at every moment, and be astonished at thee.
Reading aloud, Miss Brent.
It is my custom to read a portion of the Bible every day.
Very good habit, I'm sure.
Armstrong comes right along balcony and in.
What luck did you have? What?
There's no cover on this island. No caves. No one could hide anywhere.
That's right. What about the house, Lombard?
No one. I'll stake my life there's no one in the house but ourselves. I've been over it from attic to cellar.
Rogers enters from balcony. Wargraves comes right along balcony, slowly and into right of window.
Breakfast is getting cold.
Ha! Breakfast! Come on, Blore, you've been yelping for breakfast ever since you got up. Let's eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Or who knows? Perhaps even today.
You ought to be ashamed of such levity, Captain Lombard.
Come on, General, can't have this. Breakfast, I say, sir.
Goes out on balcony to Mackenzie, stops, stoops, comes slowly back and stands in window. His face is stern and dangerous.
Got left behind. There's a knife in Mackenzie's back.
He's dead. He's dead.
But he can't be. Who could have done it? There's only us on the island.
Exactly, my dear sir. Don't you realize that this clever and cunning criminal is always comfortably one stage ahead of us? That he knows exactly what we are going to do next and makes his plans accordingly? There's only one place you know where a successful murderer could hide and have a reasonable chance of getting away with it.
One place. Where?
Here, in this very room. Mr. Owen is one of us.
Curtain. Scene 2. There's a storm. The room is much darker, the windows closed and beating rain and wind. Wargrave comes in from left, followed by Blore.
Sir Lawrence?
Well, Mr. Blore?
I wanted to get to you alone. You were right in what you said this morning. This damned murderer is one of us, and I think I know which one.
Really?
Ever hear of the Lizzie Borden case? In America, old couple killed with an axe in the middle of the morning. Only one person could have done it, was the daughter. A respectable, middle-aged spinster. Incredible. So incredible that they acquitted her. They never found any other explanation.
Then your answer to the problem is Miss Emily Brent.
I tell you that woman is as mad as a hatter. Religious mad, I tell you. She is the one. And we must watch her.
Really? Now, I had formed the impression that your suspicions were in a different quarter.
Yes, but I've changed my mind. And I'll tell you for why. She's not scared, and she's the only one who isn't. Why? Because she knows quite well she is in no danger. Hush.
Wargrave goes upright. Vera and Emily enter from left. Vera is carrying coffee tray. Emily up center. Vera is mute right now.
Deva, you're Vera.
Heavens, thank you. Oh, yes. I brought some coffee, but you couldn't hear me because it's quite cold and my throat closed up a little bit.
You'd hardly believe it when you think what a beautiful day it was this morning.
Are Captain Lombard and Rogers still out?
Yes. No boat will put out on this, and it couldn't land anyway.
Miss Brent.
Allow me.
You're right to insist on our going out to lunch. And drinking some brandy with it. I feel better.
The court always adjourns for lunch.
All the same, it's a nightmare. Seems as though it can't be true. What are we going to do about it?
We must hold an informal court of inquiry. We may at least be able to eliminate some innocent people.
You haven't got a hunch of any kind, have you, Miss Claythorne?
If Miss Claythorne suspects one of us three, that is rather an awkward question.
I'm sure it isn't any of you. If you asked me who I suspected, I'd say Dr. Armstrong.
Armstrong?
Yes. Because don't you see, he's had far and away the best chance to kill Mrs. Rogers. Terribly easy for him as a doctor to give her an overdose of sleeping stuff.
That's true, but someone else gave her brandy, remember?
Her husband had a good opportunity of administering a drug.
It isn't Rogers. He wouldn't have the brains to fix all this stunt, nor the money. Besides, you can see he's scared stiff.
Rogers and Lombard, in Macintoshes, come upright on balcony and appear at window. Blore goes and lets them in. As he opens the window, a swirl of loud wind and rain comes in. Emily screams and turns round.
God, it's something like a storm.
It's only you.
Who did you think it was? Beatrice Taylor?
Hmm.
No hope of rescue until this dies down. Is that coffee? Good. I'm taking coffee now, Miss Claiborne, you see.
Such restraint in the face of danger is nothing short of heroic.
I do not, of course, profess to be a weather prophet, but I should say that it's very unlikely that a boat could reach us, even if it knew of our plight under 24 hours. Even if the wind drops, the sea has still to go down.
You're awfully wet.
Is anyone a swimmer? Would it be possible to swim to the mainland?
Oh, it's over a mile. And in this sea, you'd be dashed on the rocks and drowned.
Drowned in the pond.
I beg your pardon, Miss Brent.
After dinner nap.
Another furious gust of wind and rain.
It's terribly cold in here.
I could light the fire if you like, miss.
Oh, that would be a good idea.
Very sound scheme, Rogers.
Excuse me, but does anybody know what's become of the top bathroom curtain?
Really, Rogers? Are you going bats too?
The bathroom curtain?
Yes, sir. Scarlet oil silk. It's missing.
They look at each other.
Anybody seen a scarlet oil silk curtain? No? No good, I'm afraid, Rogers.
It doesn't matter, sir. Only I just thought as it was odd.
Everything on this island is odd.
I'll get some sticks and a few knobs of coal and get a nice fire going.
He leaves.
I wonder if he would like some hot coffee. He's very wet. Rogers!
What's become of Armstrong?
He went to his room to rest.
Somebody's probably battered him one by now.
I expect that he had the good sense to bolt his door.
It won't be easy now that we're all on guard.
A rather unpleasant silence.
I would advise you, Mr. Blore, not to be too confident. I should like shortly to propose certain measures of safety, which I think we should all adopt.
Against whom?
Against each other. We are all in grave danger. Of the 10 people who came to this island, 3 are definitely cleared. But there are 7 of us left. 7 little soldier boys.
And one of whom is a bogus little soldier boy.
Exactly.
Well, in spite of what Miss Claythorne said just now, I'd say that you, Sir Lawrence, and Dr. Armstrong are above suspicion. He's a well-known doctor, and you're known all over England.
Mr. Blore, that proves nothing at all. Judges have gone mad before, so have doctors. And so, I think, have policemen.
Here, here.
Vera enters.
Well, does he want some coffee?
Oh, he'd rather make himself a nice cup of tea. What about Dr. Armstrong? Armstrong, do you think we ought to take him a cup?
I will take it up, if you like.
I'll take it. I want to change.
You ought to. You'll catch cold.
I think Dr. Armstrong might prefer to see me. He might not admit you, Captain Lombard. He might be afraid of your revolver.
Ah, that revolver. I want a word with you about that.
Do go and change.
Wargrave takes cup from her, and, passing behind, goes out.
What were you going to say?
I'd like to know why you brought a revolver down here on what's supposed to be a little social visit.
You would you? I've led a rather adventurous life. I've got into the habit of taking a revolver about with me. I've been in a bit of a jam once or twice. It's a pleasant feeling to have a gun handy. Don't you agree?
Enter Armstrong.
We don't carry them. Now then, I want the truth about this gun.
Damn suspicious fellow you are, Blore.
I know a fishy story when I hear one.
About the revolver, I'd like to hear what you've got to say.
Oh, well, I got a letter asking me to come here as the guest of Mr. and Mrs. Owen. It would be worth my while. The writer said that he had heard I'd got a reputation for being a good man in a tight place. There might be some danger, but it'd be all right if I kept my eyes open.
I'd never have fallen for that.
Well, I did. I was bored. God, how I was bored back in this tame country. It was an intriguing proposition, you must admit.
Too vague for my liking.
That was the whole charm. Aroused my curiosity.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Yes, quite.
Do go and change, please.
I'm going, my sweet, I'm going. The maternal instinct, I think it's called.
Don't be ridiculous.
Vera, up left, collects Emily's cup, goes down right with it. Lombard exits.
That's a tall story. If it's true, why didn't he tell it to us last night?
He might have thought that this was exactly the emergency for which he had prepared.
Perhaps it is.
I hardly think so. It was just Mr. Owen's little bit of cheese to get him into the trap with the rest of us. He must have known him enough to rely on his curiosity.
If it's true, he's a wrong one, that man. I wouldn't trust him a yard.
Are you such a good judge of truth?
Wargrave enters.
We must get out of here. We must before it's too late.
The one thing that we must not do is give way to nerves.
I'm sorry. Rather a case of physician heal thyself. But I've been overworked lately and run down.
Sleeping badly?
Yes. I keep dreaming. Hospital. Operations. Knife at my throat.
Real nightmares.
Yes. Do you ever dream you're in court? Sentencing a man to death?
Are you by chance referring to a man called Edward Seton? I can assure you that I should not lose any sleep over the death of Edward Seton, a particularly brutal and cold-blooded murderer. The jury liked him. They were inclined to let him off, I could see. However, I cooked Seton's goose.
Everyone gives a little shiver.
Cold in here, isn't it?
I wish Rogers would hurry up.
Yes, where is Rogers? He's been a long time.
He said he'd gone to get some sticks.
Sticks? Sticks? My god, sticks?
My god!
Is another one gone? Are there only 6?
There are only 5.
What, 5?
They stare at each other.
Rogers and Lombard?
No, not Philip!
Lombard enters, meets Blore rushing out left, calling Rogers.
Where the hell is Blore off to like a madman?
Oh, Philip,
Have you seen Rogers?
No. Why should I?
2 more soldiers gone.
2?
Well, I thought it was you.
Blore enters, looking pretty awful.
Well, what is it?
In the scullery.
Is he?
Oh, yes. He's dead all right.
How?
With an axe. Somebody must have come up behind him whilst he was bent over the wood box.
One chopped himself in half. Then there was 6.
Vera. Vera, stop it. Vera, stop it, please. Vera. All right. You'll be all right. What next? Boys? Bees? Do they keep bees on the island? Well, that's the next verse, isn't it? 6 little soldier boys playing with a hive. A bumblebee stung one, and then there were 5.
My god, he's right. There are only 5.
A bumblebee stung one. We all look pretty spry. Nothing wrong with any of us. My god, you don't think...
He goes slowly over to her, bends down, touches her. He then picks up a hypodermic syringe and turns to face the others.
A syringe?
The modern bee sting.
What? Well, she was sitting there. What? One of us.
One of us.
They look at each other.
Which of us?
Curtain. Act 3. Scene 1. Some hours later the same night, the curtains are drawn and the room is lit by 3 candles. Wargrave, Vera, Blore, Lombard, and Armstrong, who is dirty and unshaven, are sitting in silence. Lombard sits chair right center, Armstrong on right sofa, Wargrave left sofa. Vera on fender, Blore down left. From time to time, they shook quick, convert glances at each other. Vera watches Armstrong, Blore watches Lombard, Lombard watches Wargrave. Armstrong watches Blore and Lombard alternately. Wargrave watches each in turn, but most often Vera with a long, speculative glance. There's a silence for a few minutes. Then Lombard speaks suddenly in a loud, jeering voice that makes them all jump.
5 little soldier boys sitting in a row, watching each other and waiting for the blow. New version, up to date.
I hardly think this is a moment for facetiousness.
Have to relieve the gloom. Damn that electric plant running down. Let's play a nice round game. What about inventing one called suspicions? A suspects B, B suspects C, and so on. Let's start with Blore. It's not hard to guess whom Blore suspects. Sticks out a mile. I'm your fancy, aren't I, Blore?
I wouldn't say no to that.
You're quite wrong, you know. Abstract justice isn't my line. If I committed murder, there would have to be something in it for me.
All I say is that you've acted suspiciously from the start. You told 2 different stories. You came here with a revolver. Now you say you've lost it.
I have lost it.
That's a likely story.
What do you think I've done with it? I suggested myself that you should search me.
Oh? You haven't got it on you. You're too clever for that. But you know where it is.
You mean I've cached it, ready for the next time?
I shouldn't be surprised.
Why don't you use your brains, Blore? If I'd wanted to, I could have shot the lot of you by this time. Pop, 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 pop!
Yes, and that's not the big idea.
The crazy touch. My God, man, I'm sane enough.
The doctor says there are some lunatics you'd never know were lunatics. That's true enough, I'd say.
We shouldn't just be sitting here, doing nothing. There must be something, surely there's something that we can do. If we lit a bonfire...
It is, I am afraid, a question of time and patience. The weather will clear, then we can do something. Light a bonfire, heliograph, signal.
A question of time. Time? We can't afford time. We should all be dead.
I think the precautions we have now adopted will be adequate.
I tell you, we shall all be dead. All but one. He'll think up something else, and he's thinking now.
Poor Louise. What was her name? Cleese? Was it nerves that made you do her in, Doctor?
Oh. Drink. I used to be a heavy drinker. God help me. I was drunk when I operated. Quite a simple operation. My hands were shaking all over the place. I can remember her now. Big, heavy, countrified woman. And I killed her.
So I was right. That's how it was.
Sister knew, of course. She was loyal to me. To the hospital. I gave up drink. Gave it up altogether. I went in for a study of nervous diseases.
Very successfully.
1 or 2 lucky shots. Good results with 1 or 2 important women. They talked to their friends for the last year or 2. Been so busy I've hardly known which way to turn. I got to the top of the tree.
Until Mr. Unknown Owen. And down came Cradle, doctor and all.
Will you stop with your damnable sneering and joking?
Gentlemen, please. We can't afford to quarrel.
It's okay by me. I apologize.
That's terrible inactivity that's got on my nerves.
We are adopting, I feel convinced, the only measures possible. So long as we remain together, all within sight of each other, a repetition of the tragedies that have occurred must be impossible. We have all submitted to a search. Therefore, we know that no man is armed either with firearm or a knife, nor has any man got cyanide or any other drug about him. If we remain, as I say, within sight of each other, nothing can happen.
But we can't go on like this. We shall need food. Sleep.
That's what I say.
Obviously, the murderer's only chance is to get one of us detached from the rest. So long as we prevent that, we are safe.
Safe? How can you possibly?
You're very silent, Vera.
There isn't anything to say. I wonder what time it is. It's this awful waiting for the hours to go by, and yet feeling they may be the last. What is the time?
8:30.
Oh, is that all?
Pretty awful light, this. How are the candles holding out?
There's a whole packet. Storm's dying down a bit. What do you think, sir?
Perhaps we mustn't get too optimistic.
The murderer's got everything on his side. Even the weather seems to be falling in with his plans.
Long pause.
What about something to eat?
If you'd like, I'll go out and open some tongue and make some coffee. But you four stay here. That's right, isn't it?
Not quite. You see, Miss Claythorne, it might be inadvisable to eat or drink something that you haven't prepared out of our sight.
Oh! You don't like me, do you?
It is not a question of like or dislikes.
There are very few tricks that will get past you, Sir Lawrence. You know, if you won't be offended at my saying so, you're my fancy.
This is hardly the moment, Captain Lombard, for any of us to indulge in the luxury of taking offense.
I don't think it's Blore. I may be wrong, but I can't feel you've got enough imagination for this job. All I can say is if you are the criminal, I take my hat off to you for being a damned fine actor.
Thank you. For nothing.
I don't think it's the doctor. I don't believe he's got the nerve. You've got plenty of nerve, Vera. On the other hand, you strike me as eminently sane. Therefore, you'd only do murder if you had a thoroughly good motive.
Thank you.
I've thought of something.
Splendid! Animal, vegetable, or mineral.
That man says he's a police officer, but we've no proof of that. He only said so after the gramophone record, when his name had been given. Before that, he was pretending to be a South African millionaire. Perhaps the police officer is another impersonation. What do we know about him? Nothing at all.
Oh, he's a policeman, all right. Look at his feet.
That's enough from you, Mr. Lombard.
Well, now we know where we are. By the way, Miss Claythorne suspects you, Doctor. Oh, yes, she does. Haven't you seen her shoot a dirty look from time to time? It all works out quite prettily. I suspect Sir Lawrence, Blore suspects me, Armstrong suspects Blore. What about you, sir?
Well, quite early in the day, I formed a certain conclusion. It seemed to me that everything that had occurred pointed quite unmistakably to one person. I am still of that same opinion.
Which one?
Well, no. I think it would be inadvisable to mention that person's name at the present time.
Inadvisable in the public interest.
Exactly.
Everyone looks at each other.
What about the food idea?
No, let's stay here. We're safe here.
I can't say I'm hungry.
I'm not ravenous myself. You can go out and have a guzzle by yourself, Blore.
Tell you what, suppose I go and bring a tin of biscuits.
Oh, good idea.
Blore starts to go.
Oh, Blore.
Yes.
An unopened tin, Blore.
Blore goes out, takes candle from bookcase. A pause. Everybody watches door. A gust of wind. The curtains rattle. Vera rises. Wargrave sits.
It's only the wind making the curtains rattle.
I wonder what happened to the bathroom curtain. The one that Rogers missed.
By the wildest stretch of imagination, I cannot see what any homicidal maniac wants with a scarlet oil silk curtain.
Things seem to have been disappearing. Miss Brent lost a skein of knitting wool.
So the murderer, whoever he or she is a kleptomaniac too.
How did it go? 5 little soldier boys.
Going in for law. One got in Chancery.
In Chancery? But how could that apply? Unless... Of course!
Precisely, my young lady. That's why I'm sitting right here.
Ah, but I'm casting you for the role of murderer, not victim.
The term can apply to a boxer.
Maybe we'll start a free fight. That seems to let you out, my dear.
That awful rhyme. Keeps going round and round in my head. I think I'll remember it till I die. Mr. Blore's a long time.
Well, I expect the big bad wolf has got him.
I have asked you once before to try and restrain your rather particular sense of humor, Captain Lombard.
Sorry, sir. Must be a form of nervousness.
Blore enters left with a tin of biscuits. Vera to behind chair right center. Wargrave rises to left center, takes tin and opens it.
Put up your hands. Search him.
Armstrong and Lombard cross to left center, search Blore. Armstrong offers biscuits to Vera.
No, thank you.
Come now, you've had no dinner.
No, I couldn't eat anything.
I warn you, Blore will wolf the lot.
I don't see why you need to be so funny about it. Starving ourselves won't do us any good. How are we off for cigarettes?
I haven't got any.
I've run out too.
Fortunately, I'm a pipe smoker.
I've got a whole box upstairs in my suitcase. I'll get them. I could do with a cigarette myself. See that you all stay where you are.
Goes out. Wargrave to door, looking after her, leaving tin on sofa.
Not bad, these biscuits.
Oh, they. Cheese.
Cheese and celery.
The girl ought to have had some.
Her nerves are in a bad state.
I don't know that I'd agree with you there, Doctor. Miss Claythorne strikes me as a very cool and resourceful young lady, quite remarkably so.
So that's your idea, is it? That she's a snake in the grass?
Hardly likely. A woman.
You and I, Doctor, see women from slightly different angles.
What does anyone say to a spot of whiskey?
Good idea, providing we can tackle an unopened bottle.
An appalling and blood-curdling shriek of utter terror comes from overhead, and a heavy thud. All four men start up. Lombard and Blore catch up candles. Blore takes candle from mantelpiece. All four rush to door, and out in this order. Lombard, Blore, Armstrong, and Wargrave. The latter is slow getting underway, owing to age. Stage is quite dark as soon as Lombard and Blore have gone through door and before Wargrave reaches door. Confused noises off. Then on stage, Wargrave voice calls out,
"Who's that?"
Sound of a shot. A confused moving about on the stage. Voices off also. Off faint. Then come nearer. Left door opens. Then the other door. Blore heard swearing off. Also Armstrong's voice.
Philip, where are you? I lost you.
Here, I'm here, Vera.
God, I'm fuzzy. No, I'm not. Why can't we have some light? It's awful in the dark. You don't know where you are. You don't know where anybody is.
It's that damn draft on the stairs, blowing all the candles out. Here, I've got a lighter.
Where's Dr. Armstrong?
I'm hunting for the matches.
Never mind matches. Get some more candles.
God, I was horrified to death. It went right round my throat.
What did?
The window was open in my room. It blew out the candle as I opened the door, and then a long strand of seaweed touched my throat. I thought in the dark I was being strangled by a wet hand.
Murmur off left.
I don't wonder you yelled.
Well, who hung that seaweed there?
I don't know. When I find out, he'll be sorry he was ever born.
Armstrong comes quietly in from left.
Who's that?
It's all right, Miss Claythorne. It's only me.
Here we are.
A faint glow through door as he lights candles. He comes in carrying candle, crosses right.
Who fired that shot?
Vera rises, moves left center, turns and screams. Light reveals Wargrave, sat upright on window seat, red oil silk curtain draped around shoulders, gray skein of wool plaited into wig on his head. In center of forehead is round dark mark with red trickling from it. Men stand paralyzed. Vera screams. Armstrong pulls himself together, waves others to stand back, and goes over to Wargrave, bends over him, straightens up.
He's dead. Shot through the head.
One got in Chancery, and then there were 4.
Miss Claythorne.
Vera.
You got me out of the way. You got me to go upstairs for cigarettes. You put that seaweed there. You all did it so you could kill that helpless old man in the dark. You're mad, all of you. You're crazy. That's why you wanted the red curtain and the knitting wall. It was all planned long ago for that. Oh my God, let me get out of here!
He rushes out. Curtain. Scene 2. The following morning. It is brilliant sunshine. The room is as it was the night before. Blore, Lombard, and Vera are sitting on the left sofa, backs to the audience, eating tinned tongue of tray.
Three little soldier boys, sitting in a row, thinking as they guzzle, who's next to go.
Oh, Philip.
That's all right, Miss Claythorne. I don't mind joking on a full stomach.
I must say I was hungry. But all the same, I don't think I shall ever fancy tinned tongue again.
I was wanting that meal. I feel a new man.
We've been nearly 24 hours without food. It does lower the morale.
Somehow, in the daylight, everything seems different.
You mustn't forget that there's a dangerous homicidal lunatic somewhere loose on this island.
Why is it no one feels jittery about it anymore?
Because we know now. Beyond any possible doubt who it is, eh? Blore?
That's right.
Was the uncertainty before? Looking at each other, wondering which?
I said all along it was Dr. Armstrong.
You did, my sweet, you did. Yes. Until, of course, you went completely bats and suspected us all.
Seems rather silly in the light of day.
Very silly.
Allowing it is Mr. Armstrong. What's happened to him?
Oh, we know what he wants us to think happened to him.
What exactly did you find?
One shoe. Just one shoe, sitting prettily on the cliff edge. Inference. Dr. Armstrong has gone completely off his onion and committed suicide.
All very circumstantial. Even to one little China soldier broken over there in the doorway.
Yeah, I think that was rather overdoing it. A man wouldn't think of doing that if he were going to drown himself.
Quite so. But we're fairly sure he didn't drown himself. But he had to make it appear as though he were the 7th victim, all according to plan.
Supposing he really is dead?
I've grown a bit suspicious of death without bodies.
How extraordinary to think that there are 5 bodies in there, and here we've been eating tinned tongue.
The delightful feminine disregard for facts. There are 6 dead bodies. And they are not all in there.
Oh, no. She's right. There are only 5.
What about Mrs. Rogers?
I've counted her. She makes the 5th.
Now look here. Marston, 1. Miss Rogers, 2. General Mackenzie, 3. Rogers, 4. Emily Brent, 5. And Wargrave, 6.
7, 8, 9. Armstrong, 10. That's right, old man. Sorry.
Don't you think it would be an idea if we brought Mrs. Rogers downstairs and shoved her in the morgue too?
I'm a detective, not an undertaker.
For heaven's sake, stop talking about bodies. The point is, Armstrong murdered them.
We ought to have realized it was Armstrong straight away.
How do you think Armstrong got hold of your revolver?
I haven't the slightest.
Tell me exactly what happened in the night.
Well, after you threw a fit of hysterics and locked yourselves in your room, we all thought we'd better go to bed.
So we all went to bed and locked ourselves in our rooms.
About an hour later, I heard someone pass my door. Came out and tapped on Blore's door. He was there all right. Then I went to Armstrong's room. It was empty. It's when I tapped on your door and told you to sit tight, whatever happened. And I came down here. The window on the balcony was open, and my revolver was lying just beside it.
But why the devil should Armstrong chuck that revolver away?
Don't ask me. Either an accident or he's crazy.
Where do you think he is?
Lurking somewhere. Waiting to have a crack at one of us.
We ought to search the house.
What? And walk into an ambush?
Oh, I never thought of that.
Are you quite sure you heard no one moving about after we went out?
Oh, I imagined all sorts of things, but nothing short of setting the house on fire would have gotten me to unlock my door.
I see. Just thoroughly suspicious.
Yes.
What's the use of talking? What are we going to do?
If you ask me, do nothing. Sit tight and take no risks.
Look here, I want to go after that fellow.
What a dog of the bulldog breed you are, Blore. By the way, between friends and without prejudice, you did go in for that little spot of perjury, didn't you?
Well, I don't suppose it makes any odds now. Landor was innocent, all right? The gang squared me, and between us, we put him away for a stretch. Mind you, I wouldn't admit it now if it wasn't that.
You think we're all in the same boat?
Well, I couldn't admit it in front of Mr. Justice Wargrave, could I?
No, hardly.
I say that fellow Seton. Do you think he was innocent?
I'm quite sure of it. Wargrave had a reason for wanting him out of the way. Well, Blore, I'm delighted you've come off your virtuous perch. I hope you made a tidy bit out of it.
Nothing like that I ought to have done. They're a mean lot. That Benny gang. I got my promotion, though.
And Landor got penal servitude and died in jail.
I couldn't tell he was going to die, could I?
No. That was your bad luck.
His, you mean?
Yours too. Because as a result of that fact, you may get your life cut unpleasantly short very soon.
What? Me? By Armstrong? I'll watch it.
You'll have to. Remember, there are only 3 soldiers there.
Well, what about you?
Well, I shall be quite all right, thank you. I've been in tight places before and I've got out of them. And I mean to get out of this one. Besides, I've got a revolver.
Yes, that revolver. Now, listen, you said you found it lying down there. What's to prove you haven't had it all this time?
Same old gramophone record? No room in your head for more than one idea at a time, is there?
No, but it's a good idea.
You're sticking to it.
And I would have thought up a better story than that if I were you.
I only wanted something simple that a policeman could understand.
What's wrong with the police?
Nothing, now that you've left the force.
Now look here, Captain Lombard. If you're an honest man, as you pretend...
Oh, come, Blore, we're neither of us honest.
If you're telling the truth for once, you ought to do the square thing and chuck that revolver down there.
Don't be an ass.
I've said I'll go through the house looking for Armstrong, haven't I? If I'm willing to do that, will you lend me that revolver?
No, I won't. That revolver's mine. It's my revolver and I'm sticking to it.
Then do you know what I'm beginning to think?
You're not beginning to think it, you square-headed flatty. You thought it last night. Now you've gone back to your original idea. I'm the one and only UN unknown Owen. Is that it?
I won't contradict you.
Think what you damned well please, but I warn you.
I think you are both behaving like a pair of children.
They both look at each other rather sheepishly.
Sorry, teacher.
Of course, Captain Lombard isn't the unknown. The unknown Owen is Armstrong, and I'll tell you one very good proof of it.
Oh, what?
Think of the rhyme. 4 little soldier boys going out to sea. A red herring swallowed one, and then there were 3. Don't you see the subtlety of it? A red herring, that's Armstrong's pretended suicide, but it's only a red herring, so he isn't really dead.
That's very ingenious.
But to my mind, it's absolute proof. You see, it's all mad because he's mad. He takes an odd, childish, crazy pleasure in sticking to the rhyme and making everything happen that way, dressing up like the judge, killing Rogers when he was chopping sticks, using a hypodermic needle on Miss Brent when he might as well have just drugged her. He's got to make it all fit in.
And that might give us a pointer. Where do we go from here? 3 little soldier boys walking in the zoo. A big bear hugged one, and then there were 2. You'll have a job with that one. There's no zoo on this island.
His laughter is cut short as he sees the big bare rug on which he is standing. He edges off the rug and turns to Lombard.
I say, Captain Lombard, what about a nice bottle of beer?
Do stop thinking about your stomach, Blore. This craving for food and drink will be your undoing.
But there's plenty of beer in the kitchen.
Yes. And if anyone wanted to get rid of you, the first place they'd think of putting a lethal dose would be in a nice bottle of beer.
From outside comes the sound of a motorboat hooter.
What's that, a boat? A boat?
All rush to balcony, to left. Blore rushes out into balcony. There is a scream, then a crash and thud.
Oh, good!
Lombard, revolver in hand, rushes to window, looks out, and returns slowly to the room. Vera sits down left.
Got his.
How?
A booby trap. All set, a wire across the door, attached to something above.
Is he?
Yes. Crushed. Head stove in. A great bronze bear holding a clock from the landing.
A bear? Oh, how ghastly. This is awful childishness.
I know. God, what a fool Blore was.
And then there are two.
Yes. And we'll have to be very careful of ourselves.
We shan't do it. He'll get us and we'll never get away from this island.
Yes, we will. I've never been beaten yet.
Don't you feel there's someone now in this room watching us, watching and waiting?
It's just nerves.
Then you do feel it.
No, I don't.
Please, Philip, let's get out of this house anywhere. Perhaps if there's a boat, they'll see us.
All right. We'll go to the top of the island and wait for relief to come. A sheer cliff on the far side, and we can see if anyone approaches from the house.
Yes, anything is better than staying here.
Won't you be rather cold in that dress?
I'd be colder if I were dead.
Perhaps you're right. A quick reconnaissance.
Be careful, Philip. Please.
I'm not Blore. There's no window directly above.
Goes out on one balcony and looks down. He's arrested by what he sees.
Hello, there's something washed up on the rocks.
What? It looks like a body.
You'd better wait in there. I'm going to have a look.
He exits to left on balcony. Vera back into room. Her face is full of conflicting emotions.
Armstrong's body.
It's Armstrong drowned. Washed up at the high water mark.
So there's no one on this island? Not at all, except us two.
Yes, Vera. Now we know where we are.
Now we know where we are.
Very pretty trick of yours with that wire. Quite neat. Old Wargrave always knew you were dangerous.
You.
So you did drown that kid after all.
I didn't. That's where you're wrong. Please believe me. Please listen to me.
I'm listening. But you'd better make it a good story.
It isn't a story. It's the truth. I didn't kill that child. It was someone else.
Who?
A man. Peter's uncle. I was in love with him.
Now this is getting quite interesting.
Don't sneer. It was hell. It was absolute hell. Peter was born after his father's death. If he'd been a girl, you would have got everything.
Well-known tale of the wicked uncle.
Yes. He was wicked. And I didn't know. He said he loved me, but that he was too poor to marry, and there was a rock far out that Peter was always wanting to swim to. Of course I wouldn't let him. It was dangerous. One day we were on the beach and I had to go to the house for something I'd forgotten, and when I got back to the rock I looked down and saw Peter swimming out to the rock. I knew he hadn't a chance. The current had got him already. I flew toward the beach and he tried to stop me. And don't be a fool, he said. I told the little arse he could do it.
Go on. Now it's interesting.
I pushed past him. He tried to stop me, but I got away and I rushed down. I plunged into the sea and swam after Peter. He'd gone before I could get to him.
And everything went off well at the inquest. They called you a plucky girl and you kept discreetly quiet about Hugh's part in the business.
Do you think anyone would have believed me? Besides, I couldn't. I really was in love with him.
Well, it's a pretty story. And then I suppose Hugh let you down.
Do you think I'd ever want to see him again?
You certainly are an accomplished liar, Vera.
Can't you believe the truth when you hear it?
Who set up the trap that killed Blore? I didn't. And Armstrong's dead. I've broken most of the commandments in my time, and I'm no saint. But there's one thing I won't stand for, and that's murder.
Oh, you won't stand for murder, but what about those natives you let die in Africa?
That's what's so damn funny! I didn't!
What do you mean?
For once, just once, mark you, I played the hero. Risked my life to save the lives of my men. Let them my rifle, my ammunition, and all the food there was, and took a chance through the bush. By the most incredible luck, it came off. But I wasn't in time to save them. And the rumor got around that I deliberately abandoned my men. There's life for you!
Do you expect me to believe that? Why, you actually admitted the whole thing!
I know! I got such a kick out of watching their stupid faces.
Oh, you can't fool me with a stupid lie like that.
Blast you!
Why didn't I see it before? There! It's there! In your face! The face of a killer!
You can't fool me any longer!
Vera sways forward as if fainting. Lombard runs to catch her. She wrests the revolver from him.
Now!
Cunning little devil.
If you come on one step nearer, I'll shoot.
You. Young. Lovely. And quite mad.
Lombard makes a movement to Vera. She shoots. He falls down left. She goes over to him, her eyes full of horror as she realizes what she has done. The revolver falls from her hand. Suddenly, she hears a low laugh coming from the study door. She turns her head slowly in that direction. The laughter grows louder. The light door slowly opens and Wargrave enters. He carries a rope in his hand.
It all comes true. My 10 little soldier plan. My rhyme. My rhyme. Silence in the court! If there is any more noise, I shall have the court cleared. Oh, it's all right, my dear. It's all right. Don't be frightened. This is a court of justice. You'll get justice here.
Crosses left, locks door left, and left Vera to right, confidently.
You thought I was a ghost. You thought I was dead. Armstrong said I was dead. That was the clever part of my plan. Said we'd trap the murderer. We'd fix up my supposed death so I should be free to spy upon the guilty one. He thought it an excellent suspicion. I sent him over with a push. So easily. He swallowed my red herring all right. You know, Vera Claythorne, all my life I've wanted to take life. Yes, to take life. I've had to get what enjoyment I could out of sentencing the guilty to death. I always enjoyed that. But it wasn't enough. I wanted more. I wanted to do it myself with my own hands. But I am a judge of a high court. I've got a sense of justice. Now, as between our sovereign lord, the king, and the prisoner at the bar, will truly deliverance make. Guilty, my lord, yes, guilty. You were all guilty, you know. But the law couldn't touch you. So I had to take the law into my own hands. Into my own hands. Silence in the court! Anthony Marston first, then Miss Rogers. Barbatone in the brandy. Mackenzie stabbed. Got Rogers with an axe when he was chopping sticks. dropped Emily Brent's coffee so she couldn't feel the hypodermic booby trap for Blore. Yeah, Blore was a fool. I always knew it would go easy with Blore. Now, returning that revolver was a clever touch. Made the end interesting. I knew you two would suspect each other in the end. The question was, who would win out? I banked on you, my dear. The female of the species. Besides, it's always more exciting to have a girl at the end. Prisoner at the bar, have you anything to say why sentence should not be passed on you? Vera Claythorne, I sentence you to death.
Stop! Stop! I'm not guilty! I'm not guilty!
That's what they all say. Must plead not guilty, unless, of course, you're going all out for a verdict of insanity. But you're not mad. I'm mad, but you're not.
I am an innocent. I swear it. I never killed that child. I never wanted to kill him. You're a judge. You know when a person is guilty and when they're innocent, and I swear I'm telling the truth.
So you didn't drown that boy after all?
No.
Very, very interesting. But it doesn't matter much now, does it?
What?
Well, I can't spoil my lovely rhyme. My 10 little soldier boys, you're the last one. One little soldier boy left all alone. He went and hanged himself. I must have my hanging.
Lombard comes slowly to, picks up revolver and shoots. Wargrave falls back off the sofa.
No! Owie!
Philip! Philip!
It's all right, darling. It's all right.
I thought you were dead. I thought I'd killed you.
Thank God you can't shoot straight. It's not straight enough.
I shall never forget this.
Yes, you will. You know, there's another ending to that 10 little soldier rhyme. One little soldier boy left all alone. We got married. And then no one known.
Takes rope and puts his head in the noose too. He kisses her. There's the sound of a motor hooter. Curtain.
Won't last that. When they're based on tragedy, they never do.
That was an intense show. Yay, show. Jesus.
Woo! Oh my God! Can I just
damn it,
like Deva, that MVP? Holy shiz!
Yeah, you guys, you killed it.
Oh my God,
Ben,
you're
are
in the pool.
you in the pool?
The afterlife. It's the afterlife. I'm enjoying myself.
He's in the pool. And mad props to our raiders. So many raiders today.
Thank you all.
We had to say hi, Allegra.
Yes, we had Allegra come in with all your people. Perception came through. Hello. That was
Thanks,
that was
Allegra.
great. Thank you, checkers, everybody. And then Faye came through. Thank you so much for.
Oh boy.
Thank you, Faye.
This is great. This is. Oh my gosh! Thank you for the cheers. Oh, Carrie. And it's. I want to thank you guys. Like as I see things, and I also don't want to, like, disrupt. If that makes sense, because there's. Yeah. I mean, this show. I don't know if you could tell. It got a little intense.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Jeez, Xander.
Hi.
Dude.
Great job, Xander.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. You guys were amazing in that last scene. Oh my God. Like,
so beautiful.
It was so intense. Yeah. Holy shit.
I want to put the show on like yesterday now. I want to do this show. Like,
right.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, good
wow.
When we can all people again.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think so. Someone just said in the book, everyone dies, and I think didn't Philip and Vera die though, because he put the
they
noose
died.
around. Yeah, he puts the noose around her neck and kills them both.
I believe, if I remember correctly, in the book, everyone was guilty.
Yeah, but you have two who weren't. But
They just like go anyway.
in this one, yeah, you guys hung yourselves anyways. It sounds like.
Can I just
So happy endings all around.
Oh, faces, we need
track.
You were what?
I was keeping track. Lombard. You can.
Oh dear, thank you guys so much for coming.
There's Xander.
Everybody, thank you.
Oh my gosh!
Perfect.
Diva.
I was the Ariel.
Because fish.
Because of fisher.
I have to say, I'm hungry. But okay, of all of the things, and you could see chat talking about this too. Tinned tongue.
I know.
Was like the choice snack.
Man, don't knock it, dude. Tongue is so good.
Don't sleep on the tongue.
I can see that, dude. There are a lot of meats I'm like, why would you ever, like, I don't get, like, anchovies. I don't get, like,
No, but all of this is a product of its time. It was written, what, in the 30s?
So we
it's
have...
right around
What do you think spam is?
So really quick,
Gross.
so Allegra...
That's what I think spam is.
Hype train happening. I'm just saying.
So Allegra mentioned this with the book, because I haven't read the book. I've only seen the play. And so she says, so basically what happens in the book is that Vera does shoot Philip successfully, and then she hangs herself in grief.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think Wargrave is already dead at that point, and then he just has, like, a note that's found by what's his name? I'm so sorry.
There's there's cops too. There's like a back end of it where
there's
someone
some
comes
cops
to the
that
house
come
and
in,
investigates.
I do love a guy coming back when you think that they're dead, though. Oh, I love it so much.
Watching Xander come back into the picture right after you guys were talking. Holy crap!
Yeah.
It was me. I killed people.
Thank you, Sensario, for the gift subs.
Yes.
Nice.
So yay, we're all gone now. But everyone, let's do our part and make sure we all stay alive by wearing a mask and taking care of each other.
Aww, that's a nice plug for safety and life.
Be safe.
Everyone suspected me the whole time. I bet.
This was fun.
This was a good one. It really was.
Good.
Good one.
Good job, everybody.
Yeah, good job.
Coming in this week.
Yeah, everyone, thank you all so much for coming. Everybody who came, this was such a treat. Thank you all. Thank you, and thank you everyone in the stream. This was such a
So good.
I love this small community that we've been building, and just being able to share theater and performance. And
somebody said they thought it was me. I get murder vibes.
Yeah, because
you were very anti-sin.
Emily.
Yeah, all of that anti-nudity.
Emily came right out of the crucible, is what she did. She's like, she's a witch, she's a witch, she's a witch, she's a witch.
She's gonna scarlet letter the shit of you, the whole lot of you.
Right?
Could have easily been you. Anti-sin lady.
Ben is in the pool. I actually believe that there was a green screen behind him when he was on stage.
I think they're in the pool the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the...
Wait, did you put the shirt on in the pool just to fool us? That just feels like...
No, the shirt was applied via rotoscope.
Oh.
It's a CGI model of a shirt.
That's top tier work, man. Like, that's production values.
Thank you. I had to contract ILM to pull off that visual trick. I've been in the pool the whole time.
Yeah, Ben blew our budget for CGI effects.
It's very expensive, but it was worth it, I like to think.
It's a good thing Stick Nuts works for scale.
Not for long. Not for long at the rate.
Yeah, he's moving up in the world.
Oh man. Well, thank you all sincerely for coming. Thank you to everyone who rated. Thank you for everyone new who joined. Thank you to all of our wonderful players, new and old alike. Yeah, we've got more. I think next week for sure we're doing something. I think the week after that is a break, and then we have a fifth Sunday this month. during which I think there's a chance we might be doing Antony and Cleopatra. We might be doing a sequel, as we did Julius Caesar last week, but we'll see.
Nice bookend to the month.
Yeah.
Like,
but yes.
I don't, man, it's getting to a point where I'm like, do we even want a dark week? I'm getting there.
Feels
I'm getting
good.
there where I'm just like, I need to be with the peoples doing the things.
What if we do a light happy week instead of a dark week?
It needs to, hey, a sunshine week.
Yeah, there you go.
We could all just chat about stuff. Anyway, thank you all. I'm gonna close out this stream. I don't know
Thanks
how
for
to.
being here.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all. Take care.
Bye, everyone.